Easier if I just step on them.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Very, very true. No, don't apologize.
I know. Michigan Avenue is just like. So good for them.
Get ready for God. You're welcome.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah.
No. That's when we always. I wasn't. Something about it. I don't remember my mom. So I don't know. It's back then. So I don't have my last rocks. White rock. I don't. You don't. I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm saying
Good afternoon.
I get straight.
That's all right. I knew what you meant.
Just in case.
Think of something. You're welcome.
And I had it on my purse, and you know what that means? It means it's on the
Yeah,
floor.
well, exactly, or the ground.
Or ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's Landis. What is the reason for all the
I have no clue.
I mean, there's this.
Good evening, Lynette. Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. What's up, Lisa?
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, all right, all right, all right.
It's good stuff.
I know.
Your whole body tense and make it controlled, articulate. Good stuff. Makes my body happy. All right, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. You may join us if you choose. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please take the roll? Nice tonight, Lynette.
Galveston. Here. Finley here. Lewis. Linky. McGill. Absent. Seacrest.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Yeah.
All right. It's Rhonda out.
Rhonda is out, but she's out of town.
She's out of town.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That takes us to the adoption of the agenda. And if I could get a motion on the agenda. Support. Okay, any changes? You have anything on that for the last minute? No. Okay. All in favor of receiving or approving the minutes as are, excuse me, adopting the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's approval of minutes that take the September 13th, 2023 one first.
You know, you did ask me a question, Supervisor Schwartz. I was looking for an ink pen, so please forgive me. I did put before everyone a corrected version of the minutes in red that Trustee Linky pointed out some concerns, and then on one of them, as it relates to the report or the comments that Juan Bradford made. I made those comments that are in red. Everything's in red for the minutes. They're not major changes. I think after I made that comment, I think Trustee Linky may have some more. I don't know.
Okay, are there any comments on the minutes?
I do have a few more on page 2, just for clarification, this is that, let's see, where it says for these reasons, Attorney Nikisha Cheney has dropped out. I would like it just to say that Attorney Nikisha Cheney believed that the Board of Trustees should have been made aware of the disclosures during a meeting. She decided to withdraw her name and recommended the firm of Bogus and Conscious.
Okay.
Another is on page 3. Under the motion carried by majority vote, the second bullet, Trustee McGill said in her recent, please add sexual harassment training. She learned that there are no such things as jokes. And then on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullet, where it said that Supervisor Schwartz said he went to the detectives to protect himself, and there was a request for a warrant at the prosecutor's office. That was, you implied that it was on Clerk Finley, and that's not in there.
Okay.
Okay. That's it.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. With those adjustments, seeing no objection to those, all in favor of approving the September 13th, 2023 special meeting minutes, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Seeing none. It takes us to the September 18th, 2023 proposed minutes. If I can get a motion on that. And support. Or, okay. Are there any changes or recommendations? I take it, Lynette, you made the proposed changes in red. Any others?
I'm just checking because I just got this. Okay, all of the red you said was added by one. And
it's the part that, yes.
okay. It's good.
Are we good? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as changed by Lynette in the red script, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. All right, we got those done. So that takes us to, I'm sorry to say, we have a quick closed session tonight. I hope it's fairly fast. So this is for purposes of reviewing to discuss pending litigation with our attorneys. So if I could get a motion to go into closed session,
So moved to go into closed session.
Support.
okay. Any discussion on it? We have a legitimate reason to go into closed session, so take a roll call vote on that.
Bentley, yes. Caviston, Lewis, Linky,
Yes.
McGill, absent. Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Okay, so we're going to excuse ourselves. Or I don't know exactly how long out. We're gonna try to make it as fast as possible, and we're gonna go next door, and you all can just stay here and wait until we return.
Can we please get this meeting started already? This is a joke. Hey, can we hurry up? This is taking way too long.
Come on, dramatic. Like.
I have no idea. You're on.
All right, so we're back in session now, and we'll continue on our agenda, and this will be
Fine. I do want to roll call. Bring this back
Okay.
in.
okay, and we'll start with citizens' participation. So we'll start, please come up, identify yourself and just what street you live on, whether you're a Superior Township resident or not. And we'll start off with Tom Freeman first.
And if I just may make this comment, everyone, please, you have to come up and speak in the mic. So if you want to speak, you may want to start.
So my name is Tom Freeman. I live in Dixboro. And I'm here tonight representing Dixboro Village Green Inc., which is a nonprofit based in the village of Dixboro that operates the Dixboro Farmers Market and is sort of involved in community building activities within the village. And the reason why I'm here tonight, I just wanted to invite the board, or at least start by informing the board. 2024 is actually the 200th anniversary of the founding of the village of Dixboro. It was founded in 1824 by John Dix. That's when the plat was actually first issued. And we are working as a group, as a nonprofit group right now. We've got a subcommittee that is planning a 200th anniversary celebration. We're very interested in involving as many people. We would be very excited if the township board and members would be interested in participating. We're pretty early in the process. We'd like to think we're out a little bit in front. But right now we're planning on a celebration for the weekend of August 2nd through 4th of 2024. I'm going to get Chuck to come up, and while I'm talking, we've got a couple things that we want to pass out for you if we could. So there's the cards. And there it is. So we've got a save the date card just to let you know and remind you. And then we've got a little reminder also that you can keep with you for the next however long you can take advantage of it. We've adopted as I said, a date. We're working on an agenda or a sort of an itinerary schedule for that weekend. And we'd like to see what we can do to involve more and more groups. We've begun to talk to some of the businesses in the village. We have involved some people from the area and outside of Michigan to try and bring them for part of the activities. If you're not aware of the fact, there is a gentleman in Texas, his name is Dan Manning, whose wife is a distant relative of John Dix. He's written a book about John Dix, and he will be there during that weekend to sign books and speak. And we also have a resident of Dixboro, a woman that grew up there, Chris Cook, who's written a book about the Dixboro ghost. So again, this is just a chance to sort of start a conversation with you. We'd love to have you participate in any way that you want. If you are aware, Juan Bradford, your Parks and Recreation Director, does sit on our group as an ad hoc member. And so we have sort of that connection, that liaison. So please, if you're at all interested, we're very interested in having you guys be part of that. I do want to just mention that there are a number of people here from Dixboro Village Green in the audience. If you guys just want to raise your hand or stand up or just say hi. These are some of the volunteers that work on the market and are also working on the celebration planning. So thank you very much for the chance to talk to you tonight. And I hope to have a lot of other conversation with you soon. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Is there anybody else who would like to? Yes.
There are a couple of things we expect from our elected leaders. We expect them to follow the township laws and represent their constituents. We have your name. Marjorie Brower. I live on Fleming Ridge Drive in Superior Township. This board is failing on these counts. This zoning and land use agreement that has been signed and unsigned and is about to be re-signed is a surrogate for a development agreement. A development agreement, according to our township laws, is the final step of a 15-step process. We are at step 5. The remaining steps provide safeguards for Superior Township so that development proceeds in a manner that ensures the health, safety, and welfare of township residents. This specific agreement turns the review process on its head. Section 1.6 of this zoning and land use agreement says the final site plan is to be subsequently approved after the development agreement. Our laws say differently. There are no performance guarantees in this document. There are no requirements that health department or road commission permits are issued before the development begins. It only benefits the developer and may become precedent for future special districts. Signing this agreement only affirms further that our Board of Trustees has no trouble putting special interest ahead of the interest of our township, its constituents, and its laws. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I just wanted to, my name is Tom Brennan and I live on Sheffield Drive. Do you need my street, my house number? No, okay. Just wanted to give a quick little plug in support of TC Collins and the Clay Hill Farm. Hopefully it'll be a really good resource in our community. Be able to get some fresh produce and food for everybody who lives over in the MacArthur area. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Brian Jacobson, 3940 Fleming Ridge Drive. And this is regards to the land use agreement. As I look at this, and it's according to the previous speaker, the development agreement, according to section 7.100 special district approval process, it seems to circumvent the existing process. And I look at this as, you know, the board is really present to protect the township constituents, and laws should be the board's primary responsibility. And by passing this land use agreement, I don't see that being the case. And in my opinion, again, with the passing of the zoning, I feel that the Superior Township constituents are being unwilling participants in an experiment. And I will remember this, and for the next election coming, and I will do everything I can if this land use agreement passes to let all of our Superior Township constituents know that the board is not performing in the interest of our constituents or the law. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Keziah Coward, and I am the stepdaughter of Takana Collins for Willow Run Acres, which is a nonprofit organization. I was the one who helped start the garden program when I was 5 years old. When my class wasn't supposed to be having cupcakes for class, we did the potato program, and it helped me a lot, and it helped me realize that gardening and farming is something that anybody could take interest in, and it can help you, and it's fun, and you can just find your own interest and happiness in gardening.
Hello, my name is Corinne Coward, and I want to give a thank you to Farmer TC, my stepdad. He helped us do the potato farming, and when I was 5 and up, he helped me and my brothers and my sisters. He helped us grow strawberries and raspberries and other kind of plants that you can eat, and also lemongrass, and he helped us for farming. Thank you, Farmer TC.
Very much.
Hi, good evening. I'm Martha Kern Beaupre. I live on Sheffield Drive in Superior, and I'm also a member of the Park Commission. And I'm just surprised I don't see budgets for 2024 on tonight's agenda. I'd always assumed they would be on the October meeting agenda, and I don't see them. And part of why I came tonight was to advocate for the park fund budget. So I don't know if I'm missing something, but I don't see it here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
It's on there, Martha.
Good evening. My name is Joet Reoma, and I am part of the Master Composter Certificate Program of Washtenaw County. I teach classes there. And I'm also a board member of Project Grow Community Gardens, where we manage 23 some community gardens in Washtenaw County. I'm here to support the Chapel Hill, the Clay Hill Community Farm and Garden that TC Collins is trying to agree with the board, with the county. One of the things that being questioned there is one of the three things is evaluating the project after 5 years. I think 5 years is short. It should be about 10 years. It's just like a child growing a garden. It's like rearing up a child. 5 years is too short. We need to look at the soil health, develop it, and 5 years is too short. We're going to develop in that garden, they're going to develop a food forest, and 5 years is too short. So to look at the potential sustainability of this farm, we need at least 5 years, 10 years before we start evaluating whether it should continue or not. Thank you.
Brenda Baker, Ashton Court. I wanted to speak to you about item 11E. The review and consider adopting amendments to resolution 2023-54, the zoning and land use agreement with conservation easement, Garrett Space, which has been on your agenda in one form or another for a long time and still can't get it right. But I wanted to remind you that the reason it's on the agenda tonight is because it was tabled from the special meeting on September 13th. And it was on the special meeting on September 13th because it was acted upon on August 21st. And there was something that you needed to fix. And that's why you had the special meeting on September 13th. And in the meeting at September 13th, there was some disagreement about The supervisor was recommending some language that he said the township attorney had crafted to put some more protections into there about what might happen in the future as the project proceeded. And there was a representative from Garrett Space in the audience who I think was blindsided by this meeting. It was a special meeting called on short notice. And he flatly stated that Garrett Space would not accept what was being proposed. And then trustee Linke spoke up and said that she didn't think that the Garrett Space attorney had had an opportunity to review the new language, which would only be fair, I suppose. And she also said that the township attorney, Fred Lucas, had indicated to her that the amendments were not substantive. And why should we add something that's not substantive? And so we had a difference of opinion, and everybody, it was unanimous vote to table it and postpone it to October 16th. So now we have the new language that come out for tonight. And it says nothing about the language that was being discussed on September 13th. I looked at the August 21st language and what is being proposed tonight, and it looks like according to the note, anyway, it's called out as being section 2.11 or 2.11, and that has to do with sewage treatment and managing the septic field and that kind of thing. And it went from very general on August 21st to now it's a little bit more different options, but it's a kitchen sink style, but there's no plan here. And we got advice from the attorney, and there's no language from the attorney here at all. And I don't understand, when we're having this much difficulty, why we don't heed the advice from the attorney. I don't know what you guys talked about in closed session, but I suspect it was not this. But I would please consider advice that you get from the attorney, please.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Hainig. I am a Superior Township resident and I'm the director of the Ypsilanti District Library. I'm here tonight just to say a big thank you to the board and township residents for supporting the library and helping us build. We had a catastrophic flood on July 1st at our downtown Michigan Avenue branch that has temporarily closed it. It'll probably be closed through at least the spring, maybe early summer of 2024. And having this additional branch be open and available to folks has really been important for us. And we are eternally grateful for having it here. We had a wonderful summer. We had fantastic participation in our summer challenge. For the first time in Superior Township, we ran our lunch, listen and learn program, and we served over 1,100 lunches at this branch. And the parking lot is full frequently. The meeting rooms are going gangbusters. Story time sessions are packed, and we know the library is loved, and we thank you.
Hi, my name is Jan Peart. I live on Answay in Superior Township. And this is in regards to the resolution for the contract for Clay Hill. There are 3 places where we do not agree, and I just wanted to know if I had to talk about it now during public comment, or will there be time when we bring up the resolution to discuss that? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you.
No.
He said no.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, great. So the first one is the length of the lease. Originally in our proposal, we'd asked for 10 years with a renewal for 10 years, and then it was reduced down to 5 years. And we're asking that you reconsider putting it back to 10 years for a number of different reasons. One is the fact that it takes a really long time to get a project going. For instance, in Apple Ridge, where we have done a community garden, it took us 2 years just to get water running. We just got that. And so even though no matter how quick you think something happens, everything takes a really long time. I was a project manager. I know this. I know no matter how well you propose something, things do not go as you prepare. It also gives us the time to create momentum, the fact that we have an obligation for 10 years. And then when we go looking for grants, we can say we have, a 10-year commitment. It also shows that the township is really committed to this endeavor. So I really ask you to reconsider and change that from 5 years to 10 years with renewal for another 10 years. The second part, the other two places where we disagree is on the early termination piece. The early termination is the way we think about it is not really fair to Willow Run Acres. There is an agreement where both
What number are you looking at on police?
the 12C. You mean the early termination? I don't have the agreement in front of me. I just have the agenda.
She's talking about the
Oh.
agenda item.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's 15. It's 15 in the agreement.
We were talking about the agenda.
Right, I was talking about the agenda. I don't have the agreement in front of me. I just know it. And in the agreement, it is that both parties will try to honor the agreement, but that if either party wants out, they just say goodbye. And for us, that's a big thing that we would start this commitment. We would be committing our time and our energy. And so we understand that things do happen. And so what we're asking for is, in part of the agreement, is that it says that you will help us relocate to a different place in the township. Well, we actually would like to change that to a place close to the population that we are serving. It is essential. It is essential. We're trying to make this a walking community, right? So we have to be really close to the people that we are serving. And so we'd like that language added in there. And now I can't remember the third one. The third one was,
Department of
oh, water. And also that if you do relocate us, so that in the agreement, it would be to relocate us and then to either put in a well or provide funding for metered water until we can raise money to put in a well. So it is a 10-year agreement. It is that if you do decide that we need to vacate the premises, that you will relocate us to a place close to the population that we are serving, and that you provide us water until we can actually get our own water. Is that okay, everyone? Any questions?
Thank you, Jan.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good evening. I'm TC of Willow Run Acres, and I have a question that I disagree with one of the items that's on the proposed contract. Is it okay if I discuss it now?
Yeah.
Or?
Good.
Okay, I have to read it, so bear with me.
That's fine.
Economic mobility refers to people's ability to improve their economic status over the course of their lifetime. Economic mobility requires access not only to income, assets, training, or employment, but also intangible resources like power, the ability to make choices for themselves. Social inclusion, according to the U.S. Partnership of Mobility and Poverty. Education and opportunity. Education, poverty, and social mobility is closely linked. Children who grow up in families with without the options of having an income, such as low-income residents, face more barriers to education and to food and to security, and also to places of enjoyment. These inadequate inequalities in communities, such as low-income communities, are a big hindrance to both economic development and social development. In order to change this, we ask that we provide economic wealth by providing food and also education through food. Health. Poverty and health are closely intertwined also. Families and individuals in low-income communities often experience barriers to affordable health care. What's that has to do with food? Well, if you don't have food, you start to have poor health. Another thing, poor health also can lead to economic stress and a loss of income and increase of healthcare costs, mental health challenges. Now, the important thing about the soil with this development of economic mobility, having the soil, it takes more than 20 tons per acre per year of solid dairy manure to increase the organic matter at 0.65% per year. It would take more than 5 years to acquire at least 1% to get to that optimum no-till method. The things we would like to provide is reduce tillage or no-till and also cover crops, diverse crops and rotations to have frequency and perennial crops. The whole agenda for this motive is to educate the community about using the resources with their hands. The most important thing is that learning by example is by learning with everyone at hand. Providing physical sustainability and support and soil structure helps build the soil. It also helps build residents to know about their soil.
All right, TC, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raji. I live in the Fairway Glens community here in Superior Township. Fairway Glens, can you hear me now? Is it better? I would just like to say that I fully support the Clay Hill Community Farm and Garden. I know you've all heard a lot from Farmer TC himself, as well as Jan, and even from the mouth of babes. As a new resident in the community, for those who don't know, the last home was finally built in that community. And so we are now a really small, but yet I would say growing close community. And one of the reasons I would attribute it to is being able to support and go to the community garden. Actually, one of my first experiences this summer, which is the first summer I've been able to enjoy and just be a part of the Ypsilanti and Superior Township community, because sometimes it gets a little confusing, right? Learning where the lines are. But I remember my first experience meeting Farmer TC. And that organic experience is what inspired me to, I'm now a mother of a 6-month-old daughter. And when I listened to the young girls that just spoke about their experience, learning how to farm, garden, grow tomatoes and strawberries, these are the experiences that I would love for my daughter to have in the future years to come. I've seen other, community gardens and farm markets in some of the areas, but they're not necessarily in the community where I live. And Clay Hill is literally within walking distance of my home. And so I know that my neighbors, my daughter was just one of 5 babies born in our 2-block community this year alone. And there are about 2 more families that are with children due soon, either later this year or early next year. And so I think that the changes that Farmer TC has brought to your attention will really support the community garden and allow our children to benefit from the programming that also accompanies the gardening, including the educational components that I've been talking and having discussions with TC about, because I am also an educator. So thank you so much for hearing everything that we've had to share. And we do hope that you as our leadership will support those efforts.
Good evening, Stephen Henley, 5188 Warren Road. I don't want to put it all on my neighbors, but I just want to take the opportunity for this to be your monthly reminder that we are still displeased with most of your decision about rezoning 5900 Dixboro. I find it interesting. I've learned a lot about TC. I've not even met the guy, but I'm supportive of him. And these are the types of things that I would like to hear from our township, taking care of our community and our planet. You've shown some reaction with some of the speakers up here, but I also feel like you have yet to show any reaction with those of us, the constituents that I represent, that I don't represent, that I'm with, even cared to show us any attention. And it really displeases me. And I just want to reiterate what one of my other neighbors said, that, we will remember this come next November. And it really disappoints me. Disappoints me that we are coming to this, that we have shared our concerns, that no one from inside the township has fought like we have fought for the places that we've paid for. And it's ironic that we now have to use the money to sue you when it's our tax dollars that you're using to defend yourselves. And it's just very disappointing. And it's sad. I just, you all are a political animal and down to this level. And just know that we are very displeased and we'd appreciate you actually working for your constituents to resolve this in the favor that your constituents would like. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Trisha Duckworth, community organizer. Wasn't gonna say anything tonight, but a couple things that I wanted to talk about that are up for discussion. One being the farm. Let's talk about food security. Food security is extremely important. I know that we throw these numbers around about the opportunity index, but they're real. There are a lot of people that are suffering. And this farm would be something that would be a blessing to the community. Food security, education, growing more farmers in our youth that will take advantage of the programming. I am concerned about the 5-year because in my opinion, that shows a board that's really not willing to understand the amount or what it really takes to run a farm. And I've seen that with We the People's farm with Melvin Parson and some other farms in the area. They take many years to get off the ground. We don't want to dangle a carrot in front of the community's face and then snatch it back. And especially about the early, the early termination. I think that especially having, I'm trying to be nice with my words today, but especially having a board member, I don't want to call anybody's name, I'm gonna be nice today, but especially having somebody on the board that cannot be trusted when it comes to what the needs of the community really are. I see the taking care of our community and our planet, but that's not fully reflected in what you do, your decisions, buying up land all over the place and wanting to do what you want to do with it. Like, I don't understand how this guy keeps getting elected. I'm sorry, I know it sounds to be nice, but we have to do what's right. In 2024, and I ain't here as Survivor Speak tonight. I'm here as Trisha Duckworth, community organizer. This guy gotta go, period. He is not what this community needs. He continues to do what he wants to do, and it is inappropriate. Now let's talk about the contracts for utility. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna say something. Because all that stuff should have been, and you know what, I've watched you speak while other people are talking. When the citizens are standing before you, it is on you to sit and listen. See, that's why you do what you want to do, because when the citizens come before you to talk, you want to talk to everybody else. Please understand and respect that when someone is in front of you, you should give your full undivided attention. Thank you for that. But these contracts, let's talk about it, because I know Mr. I just met the gentleman tonight, but he doesn't even want the raise because he wants to advocate for people that are under him, right? All of this is, these folks work hard. They work hard. No, don't.
It's 3 minutes.
Okay.
Everybody else at 3.
Okay, and that's fine, but
Wrap it up, please, Shay.
what I will say is this, is that you all need to do what's right tonight. Pass these contracts, make the amendments that TC and the group are talking about, and finally do what's right. Stop pulling this guy down the road that you know is not appropriate for our community.
Is anybody else?
Good evening, Dana Harris, Bromley Park Subdivision, Superior Township. I just met the brother, TC Collins, a few minutes ago, and I'm in favor of what he's trying to do with the community gardens. I've also been a part of a program similar to in the city of Detroit, and it worked out pretty well. It inspired the community, uplift the community, gave them hope and something to aspire for. And also, we know with a lot of foods today, a lot of pesticides and everything comes with that. So when you're able to eat healthy, you will be healthy and you'll feel good about yourself. And also, I'm just here to ask the board for maybe an extension on the sidewalks. I know we got some issues there over in Bromley Park and a couple other places in Superior Township, but I just received a letter last week. So it's hard for me to make a split decision. I know there was a group effort today in my neighborhood with a contractor to get some quotes, maybe get a discount as a group, as a whole. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a hold of them, but the transparency, if you're gonna mail something out, it should be well in advance for us to make an informed decision about something that has to be taken care of, I think by either June or July next year. So thank you.
My name is Ricky Harding. I'm a resident. Also, I'm the superintendent of the utilities department. Real quick, I want to talk about a call out that I had. It was with the elderly gentleman named Mr. Burton Lowe. He called, his basement was flooding, so his basement was flooding, so I went there and told him, don't worry about it, I'll be right there. Got there. He wanted to come downstairs with me, 95 years old. And I said, no, just stay upstairs. He insisted. He went down, showed me where it was leaking. I turned the water off. But then he proceeded to tell me he had just lost his wife just a few weeks prior to that. And it was just a sad situation because he seemed so distraught, didn't know what to do. But then as I was leaving, he handed me a card. And I put it in my pocket and he thanked me again for coming out, got back to the shop, pulled the card out and looked at it and found out and noticed that he was a Tuskegee Airman. And that was like, it was nice. So on to, I didn't know this was going to be said, but you know, our department has been asking for a raise since 2018. We did receive one in 2014. It's been, now we're looking at 10 years and 4 months, going into another year. And I think it's been totally unfair in our department. And we had 2 people come down in 2022, which Miss Lincoln and Miss McGill, to talk with us. And we talked about a lot of the things. We showed her how the operations, you know, and then we was able to have conversations about pay. But then time went by, still nothing. And then I come to the August board meeting. And one thing that was said, Ms. Lewis, that you felt like that it was some like some private conversations going on that you weren't a part of. And I think that the reason, what the reason was because Ms. Lincoln and Ms. McGill, they were calling us to have meetings and they wanted to know our concerns and we would talk. And nobody else on the board would do that. Nobody came down to talk with us, to meet with us. So that's how it was. Never nothing behind anyone's back, or it was just conversation. And I think maybe that night, and I knew you want to, you know, table it until October, but now we table it to October. And I do see me on the this document here stating that, you know, it's up to me to get an increase, but I don't want to increase, not until my guys is taken care of. I'm just trying to show loyalty to my guys. I wouldn't feel right if I received an increase in pay. And I've talked to you regarding my loyalty to my guys because I care about.
All right, Ricky, the 3 minutes up. Can you wrap it up, please?
Okay, I'm gonna end it like this. If anyone want to know my conversations and my dealings with Mr. Ken Schwartz, let me know. I have recordings, I have emails. I'm willing to give them up because I'm tired of just being behind the scenes. I think the resident.
Ricky, that's enough.
Well, I think the residents needs to know what's going on.
It's an open book, and I got emails too, Ricky. So is there?
David, I think so much was said today, and it was so important. So I don't want
nobody to forget about everything that was said. TC, I have a garden and I think you're gonna have to give me some cues next year. I wanted to talk about just one thing. And I've been deputy supervisor for maybe about 3 months, but my greatest honor has been the people. The greatest honor has been solving problems. And this morning I got up and I was cooking breakfast and I thought about one person that's on the board. All of you have did a lot, but maybe about a month ago, I received a call because I was asking for the income allowance for those individuals who may not be able to do their sidewalks. And I always knew that the greatest need personally probably was going to be around Harvest Lane and Wyatt Boulevard. I got a call from Nancy Kelveston. Very unexpected because so many of you I don't know. And I will never forget when you said, Irma, what about the people that don't have any money? And I felt the burden of the elderly people because there's so many elderly people in certain areas that just don't have the money. I sent one letter, it was polite, but it said, you have to have this done by December 1st. And that was for Oak Brook, Washington Square, Gettys Ridge, Harvest Lane, Panama, and Wyatt Boulevard. And then I sent another letter. And my thought was at this time, you had just approved it. The board just approved the income allowance. I went to work the next day and I stayed there until I got all those letters out because I thought it was that important. But in addition to that, because I know when people get a second letter and they don't have the money, they're not going to open it. So what I decided to do, I went door to door on my Saturday and people didn't want to come to the door. But I talked to them and showed them again the chart. And I said, you have to show me the evidence and then we could get this done. Over on Harvest Lane, if you think Oak Brook and other areas are bad, it's like this and like that. There's no way they can walk. There's 2 feet of sidewalk when it should be 4 feet because nobody attends to it because you can't walk down it anyway. And because the board voted, this is something good. I've been able to make people feel good. We have been able to make people feel good. So I want you to know that we have to help people. It's not about things always. It's about the community because everybody pays taxes. Everybody might not pay the same amount of money, but they're human beings. And I just want us to continue to care for them. For the gentleman, I'll be done in 30 seconds. Bromley Park has till next year. And one of the things I have done, anyone who calls me, it's been a lot of flexibility given. So anything that I can do to help make your efforts in trying to get your sidewalks done, just give me a call. Okay, it can get extended. The bottom line is we want it to get done, but we want it to be safe and healthy for everyone. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Irma.
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Clifton. I live in Washington Square on the corner of Stevenson and Pine Court. And I'd just like to say this to the board. I would hope that you rethink everything that you do and put safety, health and safety first, the people first. They put you here. Your main thing you should look at is when there is a safety issue, address it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else? You'll be the last one, I hope.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Hall, and I'm actually from Willow Run. I grew up in Sycamore Meadows, but I live in Belleville at this time. And I just wanted to speak in support of the Willow Run farm. And I'm thinking back to my 12-year-old self in Sycamore Meadows and thinking about if I had access to something like that, how it would have changed my mindset, how it would have changed my diet, just my thought process. And the fact that TC is doing this, it's an opportunity to change minds, to change thinking, to provide resources to people who are marginalized to begin with. And I just ask that you consider his request for the extension to 10 years. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we're gonna move on. I just want to make an announcement regarding the budget. The budget is part of the meeting tonight. We are actually didn't make the agenda, but yeah, and so it's we're gonna have the truth and taxation and the budget hearing next. And then we will be adopting or not adopting the budget under essentially under new business B. So we will be dealing with the budget, but it wasn't really made clear in the agenda tonight. So we're gonna do the truth and taxation hearing now. The truth and taxation hearing is for the public to determine what millages we are levying for the next year. And we have a allocation chart here that you'll find in yeah, so what we will be doing is we're going to be levying the following millages for the general fund, and we have two divisions. We have regular and we have IFT. IFT is a millage that we levy. It's industrial facilities tax, and that is where we grant an abatement. And we only have one property owner who has an IFT at this point, and that's Hyundai. So on the general millage, we'll be levying 0.7990 mills. And on the IFT under general, we'll be levying 1/2 of that, which is 0.3995. For fire, for the regular taxpayers, we'll be levying 3.5 mills this year. And for the IFT, it'll be 1.75. For the law millage, for the regular taxpayers, it'll be 2.75, and for the IFT or for Hyundai, it'll be 1.3750. So those are the millages. I'm going to open up the hearing now. And it looks like 8:15. Does anybody have any comments that they want to make regarding those millages? Okay, I'll close that public hearing and we'll move on to the the budget hearing at this point. So the budget hearing is for you to comment on anything on the 2024 budget, which is included in the packet tonight for all funds. So that would be for governmental funds, fire, police, and special assessments will be dealt with later. So it'd be those three funds. So I'm going to open up the public hearing on the budget now. And does anybody have any questions regarding the 2024 budget as proposed? And I believe we have a controller on Zoom. Landis, do we have?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we have no questions, no comments on the budget. I'll close the hearing on that. Then we'll move on to supervisor's report. I essentially have just one item that I want to talk about tonight on my report. Let me get to that. And so essentially this is it. I have only one item to report in depth this month. Last Friday, October 5th, I was invited by Greg Dill, he's the county administrator, to have a meeting to discuss the Superior branch of the YDL, the Ypsilanti District Library. And Justin Hodge attended along with Greg Dill. At the urging of county commissioners who support the Superior branch of the YDL, Administrator Dill made the following offer to the Township Board. A Superior Township will forgive $40,000 of the debt owed by YDL to Superior Township for financing the cost of widening Harris Road and installing a left-hand turn lane. The county will grant the Superior Township $40,000 to offset the cost of the improvement. So if we will forgive 40,000 of the debt that's owed to the township, and right now that's $382,327, then they'll send us 40,000 and we forgive 40,000 of that debt, which will leave a remaining balance that YDL has to pay the township of $302,327. That'll be done in 3 payments from YDL, which I am proposing. This would require a board-approved amendment to the original agreement we had with Ypsilanti District Library, that we would collect $102,327 at 2% on January the 1st, 2024. Then $100,000 at 2% on January 1st, 2025, and $100,000 at 2% due on January 1st, 2026. So that would resolve the issues that we have with financing the cost of the left-hand turn lane. The reason we financed that is because the library at that time was pretty stretched. And we wanted this library badly in our community. And so we helped the library out. And we originally had an agreement that they would start repaying us this year, but we didn't finish the project this year until this year. So we never received the payment. That was understandable. And now the county is making this proposition, which will save the district library $80,000 if the board was to accept it. Are there any questions?
Yes, I do have questions. I spent time in the library writing a grant for 2.5 million for the community center. Hope we get it. We'll know by the end of October, hopefully. It's outstanding and it is beautiful. I don't think the library is the issue. We would love to support this. This, Ken, is just another example of you not letting us know in advance that you, because I've talked to people at the county, that you went to the county and asked for this. The county did not come to you. So it's sort of like backdooring in again. And it'd just be great for you to let us know in advance before you go and represent us on your own.
Lynette, you got the facts wrong.
I talked to
Hill
Greg.
invited me and said, would you come please talk to me about this on October the 5th? And I said, yes.
That's after you had talked about it earlier, Ken, but we're not going to get into a discussion because we can ask Greg Dill about this. You also informed Greg Dill that we voted that we wanted to put all of the community center on the Ypsilanti land. And he was very surprised that you said that to him and Justin Hodge. So I'm just saying, those are the type of things that he said, the board, you said, yes, he did.
Okay, is there any other questions regarding this? Now, this isn't up for tonight, but I would like to bring it in November. And I think this resolves our issues with the library. I think it's fair in the sense that we got a beautiful library down there. It's helped values, housing values throughout the whole part of the township. And the houses are selling much faster because of that. And once we are able to get the path in from Bromley down to Getty's Ridge, then there will be a really easy transportation for about 1,500 people to access the library without a car. So I would like to bring this in November, unless you all think it's a good idea and we could just do it tonight, but we would have to renegotiate the agreement that we have with the library as to amounts in time.
I would like to see it come to the November meeting with more analysis.
What kind of analysis do you think we need?
Just more, I would like to, I'd like to understand why we're forgiving $40,000 or $80,000. I would like to have more information on that. So we can talk about, you know, just doing a more thorough analysis rather than just coming and saying, well, the county's going to do this, we're going to do that.
That's fine. I could get something from Greg or see if Greg will come here, one of the two. But that's fine. I think that's fair that we put on in November.
Right, but I don't, yeah, I agree that we need to wait a little bit just to study it.
Okay, that takes care of my report for tonight. So can I get a motion, or Bernice, would you like to give a report on the parks?
I did send a report around. Everybody has that. If you have any questions, please ask me.
All right. Can we get a motion to receive that?
So moved.
Support. All in favor of receiving the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting report, say aye. Aye. The Community Center Advisory Committee update, you have one, Linda?
We didn't have a meeting. That's why there's nothing in the board packet, but I can say that I talked to Greg Dill. We're waiting on Ypsilanti Community Schools to sign the agreement. And we're very anxious because we would like to have a groundbreaking ceremony to let residents know that we're very serious about this project.
When is the groundbreaking ceremony proposed?
We can't do it. We don't have the agreement
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So that's what I was saying. And that's what
yeah,
Greg
I
is
knew we were
very
gonna have
anxious about. Yeah.
Money, the schools haven't come to a sales agreement at this point. So, all right, so can I get a motion on the departmental reports? That would be building, fire, ordinance, parks and sheriff's report?
So moved.
Support.
All right, do we have a sheriff here tonight? There was supposed to be a deputy here.
I think he was in the
Did he
hallway.
step out now?
No, he's been in the hallway. Is he?
Oh, he took a call?
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I have a question about the fire report, and this is the one where we have the little graph, the circle with the pie chart. I'd like to know if we could add where it has fire incidents type breakdown, if we could add 2 more columns.
Where are you at there?
Page 1, this is after Chief Shebrett's report. It's the 3rd page. It'd be nice to see what the year-to-date is and also past year to compare, because there's nothing really to compare it to.
I don't think that's a problem. So year to date and the prior year.
Past year-to-date, the prior year-to-date.
As you know, the fire chief's on vacation until Friday, until Wednesday. He's in New Hampshire. All right, we got a motion and support on that, Landis?
Yes.
All right, all in favor of receiving the report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right, that takes us down to communications, and that's firefighter Nick Robson's letter to the fire chief announcing resignation. I see that Nick is here tonight. Nick, do you want to come up and say anything?
I just want to say after 11 years, I'm very grateful for everything the township has been able to do for me. As some may or may not know, I suffered a spinal cord injury a year ago last September. Lost all the feeling in my legs. Currently still getting better. I'm on my feet. We're doing well. But at this point in time, as I seen my last doctor's appointment, he said that he would support basically me going back to full-time duty. At that time, I don't think I can make it through a day, and I don't want to put myself at risk, nor the community or the coworkers that I work with. So at this point in time, I'm gonna have to turn the page because I don't want my coworkers to continue to work my open shift as well as the overtime and that. So that was a decision that my family and I had come down to, and my letter to the board, did everybody get it? I don't know.
Yes.
It's just to help me make sure that my medical stuff is taken care of when we have to switch our medical for the family. But other than that, I'm very grateful for everything that the township has been able to do for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Yeah. Thank you, Nick. So you want the resignation effective December 31st, 2023?
Yes.
So, can we get a motion to accept Nick's resignation effective 12/31?
Support.
I would just like to say that I would like for us to accept it with regrets, but certainly we understand the tough decision we have to make. And thank you again for all of this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Okay, we got a motion support, voice vote on this. All in favor of receiving the resignation from Nick Robson, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That takes us to unfinished business, which is resolution 46 and 47.
We want to do one at a time like we always do
Yeah.
resolutions, please.
So I got some questions on 46, to be honest. Now, I had heard from Keith Waukee that Mary had contacted the township and said that she did not want this to go forward tonight.
I know nothing about it, and if they do not want it to go forward, has nothing to do with them not deserving it. It's the pain that they've been going through to get there.
I would like to say something. I think that we should still go forward with this. We should look at it as the positions as well, if something were to happen, but they deserve this. And it's just, they're the heads of the utility department. And since they've both been acting as heads, there's been a lot more responsive or accountability and transparency. And I think absolutely Mary has been the chief administrator, haven't called her director prior to Mary being, or prior to her having this job. Keith Lockey was an acting director for a couple of years. I think it's time that we just award them both for what they've been doing. Ricky being the superintendent and taking that lead for all the mechanical, the technical stuff that's going out there. I know that they both said that, but they deserve it. And I would not, I think we need to go beyond just them. I heard what Ricky said. I agree, but they absolutely deserve this.
Well, that might be true, but you know, the problem I have with this resolution is it doesn't set out what the job responsibilities are or the qualifications for the job. And I know there's a desire on the board, and I agree with this, that we need to take a look at a reorg down at utilities.
We think, I think we have looked at that, Ken, and Mary is the chief administrator. We just call her, we've called her administrator, but she has been acting, she's doing everything that the prior director did. So it's not fair that she's been doing this for years and she hasn't had the position of director.
Well,
technically, if I could say, I just passed out to each member of the board a job description that Ken had created for Jeff Castro back in February 2022. I think what's the problem is Mary and Ricky are both very upset because when you passed this out and had a meeting, they said, we're doing all these things.
but they're not.
Yeah, they are. They're doing all these things. And you have other issues with these two employees that dates back to Jeff Castro. I think we got to let all that go because they are very deserving and they have been without a raise and you have been holding them back. It's not the board, it's not Bernice and Rhonda who went down and promised them a promotion. They're upset because you did this. You were bringing Jeff Castro in to be their part-time supervisor when it's right here.
Can we?
Was going to provide a lot.
It's right here.
program
So we don't have
that-
to, they deserve the raise.
I don't doubt that they may deserve the raise, but I don't think that we should be doing it.
I like to call the question, please, for,
There's no motion on.
well, I move that, I thought there was a motion and that's why we're
No,
talking.
there isn't.
I move that we
One at a time.
okay. I move that we approve Mary Burton to be Utility Department Director.
Support.
I think it's way premature. I mean, if you look at what I was trying to get,
This is-
it was things that they can't do that would have helped them perform at a higher level.
They're doing it, Ken.
But the benefit would be.
We had a call with Keith today. He said,
We need to reorganize on there. And if we decide in the.
Ken, there has been, excuse me, but there has been no you have not really been their supervisor. By name you are, but for the last 2 or 3 years since I've been here, you have not been out there. Now they're doing their.
You don't know that.
you've admitted it. You admitted on the tape.
You've admitted.
Guys got involved.
Okay, I call the question, please.
Oh, wait.
I call the question.
Well, I'm voting no on it at this point. I wish it was.
I didn't ask, well. Ready to vote?
This is wrong.
Yes.
You want to call it? Okay. Yes. Linky,
Yes.
Caviston,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yeah.
What's your name?
No, Secrest.
No.
I do that to him because he does it to me. Seacrest. Seacrest.
No.
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 Passes 4-2.
3-2.
1, 2, 3, 4. Don't correct.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, sir.
So the next resolution. Is there a motion on the table since Ken's not gonna?
I move that we approve Ricky Harding as Superintendent of Utilities.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Just exactly what this says.
That's not
Oh,
how,
I'm sorry. It says super.
that's not how it reads.
We
Okay.
want superintendent of maintenance. and
I'm
that's what-
sorry, yes, sorry, Superintendents of Maintenance. Mhm.
And this is the incorrect for the third time resolution is in the book. It definitely says the position at the end.
So
Ricky
you,
already
this has
is
been,
Superintendent.
so this is,
It should
is-
say maintenance. Remember you sent the corrected one that said maintenance
And
at
it
the
doesn't-
bottom, therefore
doesn't
be it
say
resolved. Yeah.
so can we amend this at this point? The amendment would be,
Utilities is what we're saying, not maintenance.
Yes.
And that's what she has in the board.
but it's not in.
Yes, you can amend it to put that there.
So I would like to make a friendly amendment that we change Ricky's title to Superintendent of Utilities, and that Ricky Harding be given a salary of $96,210, a 10% increase.
Again. there is
Support.
No due diligence on any of this. And he's already the superintendent of maintenance. So you got a director and now you have a superintendent. That creates an incompatibility of office, in my opinion.
We said
That's
utilities.
in your opinion, and I actually, I'm citing the laws whereby we can do this, the
I'm
Michigan
not saying
laws.
you can't do it.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Creating incompatibility between the director and this. Who's
this,
gonna run the show? The director or the superintendent?
the superintendent reports to the board and the director reports to the board.
Which we clarified.
Yes, we did.
I would just like
to state something. I just want to say, I'm going back to July of when I was hoping to have a meeting with the other officials. And in that meeting, what I was going to ask for is exactly what Ricky stated tonight, was an increase for his employees. And that was going to be a part of my meeting that never took place. And so I heard Ricky say tonight that he doesn't want an increase in pay, but he wants it for his employees. And that was what I wanted back in July when I was hoping to have a meeting that never took place, a raise for his employees.
I think we discussed that, Lisa, in the last working session, why that meeting did not occur.
We may have, but that
We
doesn't,
did, and
that
if I
doesn't
can,
resolve this issue though, and nor does it resolve what Ricky stated tonight.
I think what we need to do is to take care of what we've been promising. Not using, you can turn anything around that you want. You're the one that promised somebody something, Jeff Castro. So don't turn stuff around, please. Yes, you did. You've been doing it for 5 years. You paid him in our township budget for 6 years and he didn't work. Okay, we all know that. So we're not going to go there tonight. Thank you. So no, I'm not done. Getting back to Lisa's comment, we talked about that, and what we said, Lisa, is that Ken had said that he was going to retire. He did not, so we accept that. What happened is no one, as Ricky said, went behind closed doors, or whoever said it, and did anything. Everything was public. We can't do this or what you're suggesting until we get certain things straight here.
Why?
Lisa, we just met in a work session regarding that. That's why.
We didn't meet about Ricky's employees getting a raise in a work
No,
session.
we didn't. We met in the work session about the organizational structure that have people in flux. And we mentioned changes that we were going to make. I think that's what we can do in the November meeting, but I think for us not to do what we have been saying we are going to do since I think September, we shouldn't do that anymore. We will take care of his employees. We will take care of all employees because they deserve it.
You guys,
Call the question.
no,
I'd like to call the question, please.
I'm gonna make a motion.
I'd like to call the question.
Before you do that, I'm gonna make a motion to table this.
You can't,
No,
you can't
Yes,
do
we
that.
can.
I called the question.
Not,
Yeah,
once the question is
Fred, you
called,
called the
Mr.
question.
Attorney,
point on is that
Fred.
there's no way to run a utility department. It really is not.
because you want a part-time, thank you. It's not how it works.
Okay. Lynette, when you call the roll or call the.
So we are voting on
We're
the motion.
voting on your motion.
Okay.
All right,
I
Lynette.
thought you said you can vote on calling the question, then vote on the motion. Is that what I heard you say? Yes.
You
that's
mean,
what I heard him
so we
say.
have a vote on calling the question. All right. Yeah. Okay, so. Okay, so does you understand what's happening? So,
Could I hear the motion?
No, first, we're calling the question.
That's fine.
all right, so just so everyone knows, Bernice has called the question on this resolution. And so we have to have a vote whether or not we're going to allow the call on the question. And if we say yes to that, then we vote on the resolution. If we say no, then we can table.
Discuss it.
We can discuss or table it.
The resolution you're speaking of is 47.
Yes.
Yes. So, so Lynette, the question is, should we call the question? And can you read the roll on that?
Lewis,
No.
Finley, yes. Linky,
Yes.
McGill absent. Caviston,
No.
Seacrest. Schwartz. Fails.
So I would entertain a motion to table this until we can have a meeting. All right. All right. And then if that fails, then we can do the table.
I want to hear the original motion.
All right, so well, at this point, just more discussion if we wanted to. Correct.
I want to hear the motion.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the change in title for Ricky Harding to Superintendent of Utilities and pay him at $96,210, which is a 10% increase.
And the support.
Let's just have, let's read it.
No, you have questions. You said you had questions. That's why
I
we
have more statement questions.
didn't make your.
And here, I think that there is a conflict between the director and the superintendent. You haven't defined what the superintendent is supposed to do. And I think that we should know what that is. And I think that's why we need to have a work session on this and reorganize it in some way that makes sense so that there's confidence by the people who pay utility bills that we are actually paying attention to what is happening at the utility department, so they get the best service at the lowest rate. That's all.
And I'm just gonna comment one more time. One more time that Ricky and Mary are both extremely upset because when they were called in the conference room, Mary in February, and told that, shared this job description, Ricky's comments were in a very painful way. He said, "This is what I do."
This is what
He does. Ricky does what he's creating a job for Jeff Castro.
And I just
And
want
Mary does the administrative part.
Part
It's
of
what
the
I just,
office.
yes, I just gave you this, Nancy.
Yeah, you just.
That job is being done. That's why they're upset. They're not upset with anything else other than that.
and I just want to say Ricky has been doing an excellent job leading that department. And it's time that we recognize it and pay him for what he's worth.
I'm not saying Ricky's not worth it. I'm just saying we are going through a process without any due diligence and thinking through the consequences of this action, which I don't think bode well at this point for the customers. And I think that if we could have a work session and talk about this with including the other workers and making a global determination about the maintenance department.
I think this is a delay and we keep doing this. We keep tabling
there's
it
the-
and delaying it and delaying it
Wait.
so that it never gets done.
No, you did delayed it twice, actually.
Yes, And I,
Yes, it has.
this is really, it's just not fair. Yeah. Bill, did you have some?
Bill,
What?
you had your hand up.
Oh, I just think a work session is appropriate because we've had a lot of discussion about the utilities department, who's in charge. And I think the idea is to let's have a work session and discuss the utilities department. I think everybody deserves more money. I agree with that. But what's the order of, who's in charge of what, I think needs to be determined. So I think we need to discuss that.
That's no problem with having a work session on the rest of how we're going to structure. I hear you saying something.
No.
I think that is very much so unfair to Ricky. And I'm happy we were able to get Mary past what we're gonna lose people because of what's going on. That is why we're gonna lose them.
Making 100,000 a year down there. I don't think that they're gonna run from this.
Ken, you were gonna offer him $70,000 for 19 hours. Come on.
This was never passed. It was never.
We know, because you got that.
Brought to the
But
board.
you
But Jeff Castro was working here and he wasn't hardly.
said
doing
he was not an
anything
employee.
6 years. You guys, let's get back to what it is. Ricky Harding has been doing this job for years. It's not fair to not compensate him appropriately. Why are we not doing that? Why is it, we could do the other people in the utilities department. This is just so unfair not to compensate. No, Ken, he's been running everything out in the field since he's taken over. Things are happening finally. Things are happening with the pump station. Things are moving. No, he's there watching and doing things. He's speaking up. You guys, this is, it's so important. I mean, it's so important to acknowledge what this guy does.
Well, I'm not disagreeing.
So let's give him what he's due.
Since he got his S1 license.
That is
Stop
not
doing that to
true.
him, Ken. It's just not
Yes.
right.
Look at Fred. I'm looking at Fred. Thank you, Landis.
If there's a dispute over whether the title, can you separate this into two motions, one for the raise and then deal with the question of the
That's what you want to do?
I mean, I don't do anything. I'm just saying it's
No, I'm
way
just saying
beyond the impasse. That might be something that you could look at here. If the question is, one is his salary and the other is whether you're going to appoint him as superintendent, that might be one way for you to deal with it. But that's just my.
Thank you, Fred.
It's both. It's both together.
Yeah.
He was a superintendent of maintenance. Now let's acknowledge what he does. He's a superintendent of utilities, and let's give him the raise he deserves.
But you haven't defined what it means to be the superintendent. Are you talking about according to chapter 41 of the laws?
According to the job description that Jeff Castro was going to do, according to his own job, he's a superintendent. And when you look at the laws, we're allowed to take certain things the board can delegate to you. We don't want to delegate those things to you. We want to delegate it to Ricky. We're allowed to do that. Putting everything on hold and continuing to table it is just so unnecessary and unfair.
And I think what also, Gail, I hear you over us. I think what's also unfair is you're on tape twice saying that you don't supervise. You know you don't supervise anymore.
You mean me?
You.
Yeah, I said that I don't.
And you said you said it with, no, that is not what you said.
It was running smoothly.
Here again, if anybody wants to hear the tape, Ken, that's not what you said. And
I
we're not
think
gonna
that
go.
we need to
Please stop,
move on and we need
Lisa.
to make a
Please don't
decision
interrupt.
about what we're going to do,
You
because
let
this
him
back and
talk.
forth is not going to
I
settle
agree, but
anything.
he's talking, but you're letting him go forth. Yeah, you are.
Wow.
What are we
The
calling?
question is to vote on the resolution as presented. I'm voting no, and I think we need to have a work session on this, is all I'm saying.
I haven't called the roll for the vote. Why do you start off by saying how you're gonna vote no, you shouldn't until I call it.
Yeah.
That's what yeah. Finley, yes. Lewis,
Yes.
Caviston,
Is this to increase the pay rate?
yes, and yes.
Yeah, they amended the motion. So it's both.
The pay rate and the title?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
where did I leave off?
Me.
You left off on Nancy.
Oh, thank you. McGill, absent. Linky,
Yes.
Schwartz,
No.
Seacrest,
No.
passes 4-2.
Let's move on. That would be resolution 2350, Aaliyah Ricky, role change, accounting and billing specialist. Resolution for you. Yes, 50.
So moved.
Support.
Is there any discussion on this? This one's kind of easy.
This one's easy.
Why is that?
Well, we're describing what she's gonna be doing here and how, and what she doing that she wasn't doing before.
You want to call for the vote?
Increased her responsibilities. No more discussion.
Okay, you want to, no, I'm just saying, are you ready to vote? Okay. Finley, yes. Lewis,
Yes.
Caviston,
Yes.
Linky,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
McGill, absent. Schwartz,
Yes.
unanimous.
Okay, this is to remove, to move the supervision oversight of Nancy Mason to Controller Keith Locke.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions on?
I would be in favor of this if we move the controller under the clerk's office as it's supposed to be. I would be in favor of it.
It's not on the
Otherwise,
agenda.
Right, so,
well, but
We'll take it up in November.
and I would support that to take it up in, because we had this one on the agenda that you suggested that we table.
right.
We've not talked about that. We only talked about it in the work session, so
Well,
I would support that too, Ken.
Anything else, please?
So I probably would table this till November then.
Not, I wouldn't table Aaliyah. I'm sorry, this is not Aaliyah.
No, this is,
I'm getting tired here. I wouldn't table this. Because of certain things that are going on, and Keith could offer support to Nancy.
So is there a motion to table? Did I hear that?
No, I was.
No.
All right, so let's. Is there any more discussion? If not, let's vote.
Finley, yes. Caviston,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Linky.
Yep.
McGill absent, Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
The next item is review and consider adopting amendments to resolution 54, resolution to approve the zoning and land use agreement with a conservation easement. This is Garrett space that we're talking about now. Scott or, sorry.
Supervisor, I do want to point one thing out. I was looking at the version of this agreement that is in this packet. Particular section 2.11 relating to the sanitary sewer. This is not the same language that the attorney for Garrett Space had agreed to when, and I think I sent all of you a copy of his signed, I know, copy that he had signed off on. And this language is not the same language.
This is the language that you put the little scribble on, the 2 point. Yes, it is. Did you read the?
My email when I sent it, guys. The version that Mr. Fisher had written is approving that language.
Right, the little scribble.
Right.
So you wanted me to put the little scribble, the one that he approved, which is this?
No.
You pulled out one page of, I'm sorry, I'm not in the mic. You pulled out one page of it, which was the exact same page. Is this the right one or no?
I think it's important to clarify that there are actually two versions in the packet. And the second version has the language that we're talking about.
I just want to make sure that we're voting on the right version.
Right.
Yeah, and the version that we're voting on, or that we're discussing, I'm not voting. It says at the top of the first page, draft prepared with change in section 2.11 for consideration by the Township Board on October 16, 2023. And so that's the one.
Okay, I'm looking.
October
That's the
6th.
second.
This is the one.
That's the second one, and Fred, you'll find the language in there.
As long as we're clear that it's the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We're clear.
All right.
So, Jerry, can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
You guys intend to follow the zoning ordinance, going to the planning commission and getting your preliminary and final site plan and going through extra agencies to get the permits and all that, right?
Absolutely, and doing a development agreement as needed.
Doing a development.
Absolutely. This is not a development agreement.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're looking at me. Do you want me to? Yeah, there's no motion on the table.
Somebody should make a motion.
You are the supervisor.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
supposed to do that. Call for the,
Somebody like, please make a motion on the land, building and land use agreement.
I move that we adopt the amendments to resolution 2023-54.
Okay, do we have a second? Support? Okay. Are there any questions on? We have both lawyers here. And my main concern was the sanitary, which has been corrected. And the fact that you have made the, you have made a statement today that you will do a development agreement as needed. So you'll be essentially following the ordinance on 2.100, I believe, or maybe 2.101. The flow chart. Yes. Yes, okay. All right.
ready? Linky,
Yes.
McGill absent, Caviston,
Yes.
Finley, yes, Lewis,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Now move us on to Resolution 68, resolution to authorize the supervisor to submit an application to the TAP program for ADA sidewalk ramp improvements. So this is a requirement of SEMCOG in order to get considered for the grant that we have in right now. George, is there anything you want to say about it?
Good evening.
I was going to
Yeah,
tell
you
him that.
skipped a lot.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, wait, yeah, I did. All right.
You're on
Well, let's,
F. You're on F.
we're on F. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm sorry. So, yeah, this is resolution 41. It's to approve the OHM design and bidding construction phase support for the new bathroom at Fire Station number 2.
So this was before you, I believe, a few months ago. At the time, we had discussed going back and confirming that the storage closet was the right spot for the new bathroom. So my understanding is Juan had a meeting with a contractor and a plumber. They kind of looked over everything, connections. They looked at alternate locations, and Juan came back to me and said that is their preferred location. So the proposal before you is consistent with that. So to design it, prepare plans, get a building permit, obtain pricing from 3 contractors, and then provide some limited construction oversight. That's the proposal before you.
And that's a fixed fee of 15.7.
For the total services, yeah, through construction.
Okay.
So did we have a motion?
No.
So I move that we well, I don't want to move that. I want to talk about it first, sorry.
Well, you have to still, you can move.
So I'm gonna move to approve it, but I want to talk about it.
Support.
Okay.
Now
So-
you can talk about it.
Okay, so George, this is just for the engineering,
No, so
15,007, am I looking?
design, bidding, and then some construction visits.
Okay, am I looking at, I'm looking at 2023-41, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this just says 15,700.
For the proposal. we
Right.
provided, yeah.
So that's it, right?
Correct.
Okay. When you were looking at the little closet, remember when we talked?
Please talk into your mic.
Okay,
Just-
sorry. We had talked a couple times just about trying to investigate whether or not there could be a way that they could use a bathroom on the other side. And
Yeah,
there is absolutely no way that you can do
well, not
this.
between Juan and the fire chief's discussions, that wasn't a viable option for them.
Do you know why it wasn't a
I
viable
don't know
option?
all the reasons, but they told me it wasn't gonna work for them.
Do you know why?
I think it's because they got lines on that wall, but firemen are here. They can answer the question probably. Somebody want to field that question? It's a question why.
I think it's just the location of it just doesn't work in terms of what the fire department uses and what Juan's staff would use in terms of where they're at in the fire station.
But is
I mean,
that,
I don't know if it's union related. It just, in their discussions, that was not a good location. I mean, Juan could probably tell you more, but I know he's sick today.
Lynette, do you know? Because you're doing that.
No, I'm saying, I don't know. It could be union related. I was saying that. Who, you gotta talk in the mic, whoever's talking. Thank you, Sean. Jeff, I didn't see you. Oh.
I am Jeff Kajal with the fire department. It was not union related. My understanding was they would have to rip up the concrete and bring it through the bays. It just was not a feasible option. Bringing water from the fire side, cut up the bays and bring it over to the Parks Department side. That was my understanding.
So what, just a question, would that have been more expensive than what we're proposing? Plus, I thought I saw 66,000 for a bathroom somewhere.
I'm not sure. I didn't even look at the proposal.
Okay. Do you know?
I don't know what the other option would have cost. I know Juan had the contractor price the storage room conversion.
All right. So remember when we did ask that question to see
This is-
what it would cost to have an egress from another bathroom.
Is this your fee schedule? Whose fee schedule is this? Is this for the entire, this
What do you mean, fee
15,007?
That's the fee for the total
Okay.
services, yeah.
Okay,
Our fee, yeah.
sorry.
OHM's fee for
Not
total. service.
OHM's fee,
Not construction.
right,
Yeah, you had mentioned the 60.
right.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
Juan had a contractor give him a rough conceptual cost for what he thought the bathroom would cost to build it out.
Right.
That's the 66, yeah.
So in total, it's gonna be over 70,000 if we go this route.
With total
So
services.
the 15,700 plus 66,000.
Yeah, over 80.
80,000,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is just so that they can have a bathroom and not use a porta john that they've been using for years.
So
Nigger.
What?
another, what you call it?
I said nigger.
They said, I think I
You
heard
old
what they
nigger.
said.
Yeah.
I said.
Can you
cut that
mute
out?
it? Thank you. That's someone not happy with what's
Can't
going
stop
on.
me,
in there.
nigger.
That's what happens every time
Can't stop Dolph Ziggler, baby.
someone's not happy.
Woo!
Who's
Dolph
laughing?
Ziggler, baby.
Somebody did?
I can't stop the feeling.
Someone on this board said that?
Nigger.
I did.
All right.
So Landis, you're able to cut that? Mute it, or move and remove. Okay, so. we
Why the
have
hell
a,
did you ban him, you fucking
motion
nigger?
On the table for the OHM proposal. Do we have support? Are all the questions been answered or not?
Y'all niggas.
Because, you know,
I just want them to have a bathroom, Ken. I don't, at this point, I just want the
Well,
parks.
they need a
Nigger,
bathroom.
nigger.
We want them to have a
This-
bathroom.
this is what this was.
Nigger.
Right, so we're getting ready to vote. Is it okay? You don't have to do it. Can we just do a motion? What happened to
Yeah, we
that?
can do a motion. Okay, all in favor of the proposal by OHM, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right, that moves us down to resolution to accept the bid from KAB for improvements at Fireman's Park.
Who's KAB?
This was brought up at the last meeting, I believe. And it was for the improvements at Fireman's Park, and the board had allocated, I think, 318,000 for this project. And the bids came in, the lowest bid came in at 529,000, which meant that we would have to borrow out of our reserves about 200,000 if we were to accept this bid, or out of the park reserves, 200,000, a little more, I think Lisa calculated 209 or something to make it go. I think that
Pretty expensive.
we've already allocated 318 for it. I think it's 318 or 320. I'd like to give Juan the opportunity to take that 320 and see what he can do on improving the park. Because the bid's really high. I mean, it's almost twice as much as we expect.
Can I talk? I would like to see us approve the entire amount. This is for Fireman's Park amenities. We've had many people come to our meetings saying that they would like to see more equipment for kids. We know that there's drainage issues. This would fix the drainage issues. I think the drainage issues were a little over 100,000. And then allow him to get all of, like, I think there's an exercise route as well.
Bernice, before you continue, Supervisor Schwartz, I don't know what's up, but can you ask, is it a call for a motion? We don't have a motion on the table. We shouldn't be
okay.
discussing until there's a motion.
Want to move?
I move that we accept the bid from KAB Enterprises in the amount of $529,864.78. And that he has, I think there's ARPA funding already. It's not showing, but it's about 318,000. That the difference, the general fund pays for the drainage issues. And then the additional amount, let Juan find out of the park reserves. I think the drainage issues were over 100,000. And I say that, Ken, because we spend money on, you and I have been talking about the rock property. We spent $2.4 million on property that we'll never really use unless we start putting things in that that conservation agreement and that or conservation easement. We easily do that. Let's do some things for the kids in our community.
Before you, can I get we can need to support the motion. You just put it out on the table. Support. Now you can
Sorry, Lynette.
discuss.
Okay. So that's where I'm at. Like we let whatever, I know that there was a difference of about, I want to say 218,000. Let something like that. Let the general fund pay for drainage and let Juan pick up, or the Parks and Recreation Commission pick up the extra for the amenities.
All right, so I sent to the board today all the matches that we have to take from the general fund for the three cat projects that we're talking about. And we're already dipping into the reserves over 700,000 for that. We only have 2 million in reserves. So this would be basically $1 million for the year. That's a lot to hit up your reserves in 1 year.
But we're willing to give 40,000 away for the IPSC to, and I love the library too. I'm a big library books person. This is an important project for the community south of Gettys in a park where a lot of kids enjoy and their parents around that area. I'm just hoping that we vote on this and we help Juan out with the drainage, or the Parks and Rec Commission with the drainage. And I'm sure the remainder can come out of the parks reserves.
All right.
It's important to make clear that the 529 is not just for the park and the equipment. It's also including a drainage problem that we have not addressed in that park. And we've known about it for a while. So I think I would agree with Bernice, the time would be now to do that. Because I sat in on those bid meetings with Juan and what's her name? Martin. What's her first name? Claire, thank you. And just to see the equipment that we can put over there, I mean, it's beautiful. The issue is the drainage. That's a major part of this cost. And we really should try to address the drainage issue.
Well, I don't think we have any bids on the drainage issue at this point, do we?
Not saying,
Did it
Yes,
come in at George? I thought it was more 50,000.
no,
And
yes,
the drainage and grading portion, I believe, was 140.
yes, it
Yep.
was.
Yeah.
140?
Yes.
And then for all the other, the pathway equipment, all the other stuff, that was like 389. Yeah.
So that's what I want to clarify.
So just so I understand, Bernice, you're saying that we accept the bid, but the excess amount would be paid for between the parks reserve and our reserve.
yes.
How would you split that out?
So
50-50?
no, was it 140 that you just said for drainage? I'd have that charged to the general fund and the remainder of that overage charged to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
I just think we're really burdening our general fund. It'll be almost $1 million this year. We're cutting it in half. I think that the 318 would be a good start down there. I got no problem with that. Get the drainage fixed and see what Juan can do with the remainder of that, and then come back to the board again if we need something to add to that. But the whole drainage thing would probably take at least the spring or summer.
So I'm gonna comment on this
I can do
bid.
it in the winter.
This bid,
I can try to-
can I, since I was in that meeting, for the first, this was the second bid out. There were two. And this company, the first time around, was the lowest. That's how quickly the equipment increases in cost. Same equipment turned around, and this is the bid. He ended up being the highest. The more we put this off, the more money we're going to spend. And I think that we just approve this and try to figure out how we make this work. I mean, I don't want to compare what this is with utilities and their reserve. I think we should try to make this work.
with if we clear up the drainage issue, would that also help with the mosquito issue that they have during?
Yes,
Because that was one of the reasons that one of their events wasn't as successful, is because of all the mosquitoes that were in the area.
yeah,
Oh, you have water, you're gonna get
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
it's terrible over there.
Well,
No
I would-
question.
I would say, Bernie, I'd like you to reconsider on the split. That we just do it 50-50 because we are really racking up this year, well, for 2024, probably close to $1 million. And that's for what we have now with nothing, there might be some unforeseen eccentricities that come forward. from that.
Well, we still want to talk about other, like HR person,
Right.
right? But, I would like, how about 70-30?
Well, I think that's about what it is right now.
No, I'm talking about the overage. The general fund gets 70.
I just really feel.
They're going up.
Do more to protect the general fund at this point.
Okay,
Is this something that our controller can chime in on?
yeah.
Can you, yeah, I don't think your mic is on, Lisa.
Is he on?
Well, remember, we had to back off because of the person so we have to figure out how to do that.
Keith,
No,
is
I
this
think
something
the
that you
other
can
person.
chime in on with respect to how much money we have in reserves and whether or not you think 70-30, 60-40, 50-50 would be a good way to go with respect to this, to what we're discussing right now with item G?
Good evening.
So
I'm looking at the budget. At the end of June, the undesignated parks fund had about $192,000. So let me go to the general.
Did he say he'd go for, I didn't hear.
General.
Okay.
The general had $1,950,000 approximately. So just keep that in mind. So how much are we talking total?
I'm thinking it looks like it's about 212,000.
Okay. And so Ken is suggesting 50-50 and you said 70-30.
I think we missed one thing. You said, you said the designated was, I think, 190. The
Undesignated.
That's undesignated, 190?
Yeah, 192.
All right.
So with that, take that into consideration when you decide on what kind of a split you want to do.
Right.
We are taking quite a bit from the general fund in this year's budget. The way the budget is looking right now, that we are. Go ahead.
So Keith, I had a question for Ken, earlier today. We have 211,000 in that, Getty's Road
Yes.
restricted fund. And I
Yes.
know that when Hyundai gave us the remainder of that money, it sounded, what I remember is that we could come up with, they didn't really define real well what they wanted us to do. So I'd like,
They never released that money. Never released that money.
I thought they did release it.
No.
No.
So I thought that was that's in our budget. That's in our, isn't 211,000 in the Getty's Road fund, Keith?
There is $211,000 in the fund balance, Bernice, that was left over from the Hyundai fund. And as Ken says, Hyundai has to release that money to us that we could use it. But even remember, if we utilize, let's say they agreed to that, we still need an expense of 200,000. So it just would not come from our undesignated, it would come from that fund.
So what I was wondering is if we could use if we could use that 211,000 against the 200,000 Getty's Road project, the pathway.
If I can comment on that before, I'm on the planning commission also, and I clearly remember Mark making a comment that you could take that money and use it how you want to use it.
We never released the money, and Hyundai asked me at the beginning of last year, what is the total on that? And I sent them the total and I never heard back from them.
So why wouldn't we follow up with them just to see if they're going to release it, because they released the money
Well, I
for the
didn't know that
trees.
we Release it for this purpose tonight, but I can definitely.
Well, I wouldn't know because that was in the future. So what I'm saying is if we did that, you could then reduce the amount of the general fund that you needed to cover our 24 budget. And then we could use some of those funds for this. I mean, you could, because you could,
What I would suggest, Bernie, is why don't we table this next month? I'll call Hyundai and try to get a written response from them saying, yeah, you could use money, then we could just pay it all out and cover the
You know,
excess.
I wish Juan was here because I don't think when it comes to the contractors that
we can wait.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like, it was not, I thought it was
I'm very-
90 days.
Yeah, it's typically a 90-day hold on the bid, but I will say that the contractor did plan to try to get some work done
Yeah.
this year.
Right.
Some of the drainage work until the frost sets in. I don't know how much they'll be able to do, but they wanted to start probably mid-November, try to get a few weeks of work in at least.
Do you know when it started? Because I heard you say 90 days. Do you know when it
Well,
began?
90-day hold period on the bid. So the
Oh.
bid was about 60 days ago, I believe.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So after 90 days, you have to release the bids.
So if we approve it now, they can get started on the drainage issue.
Right.
So are we ready to vote?
Hang on, let's just see when the bid came in. August 31st, that would give us to December 1st.
But they could start doing work as well.
That's what we're talking
Well,
about now.
You have to get bonded, sure.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, we have until August or December to accept the bid. That's the way
I think we understood that when George said we had 3 months. I think the question we're talking about now is they wanted to get started on the drainage before the year expires.
I understand that.
So that's what we're talking about at this point.
I understand that.
Okay.
I just would like to do more to protect the general fund because we're running a deficit next year, plus we're already spending, including this, $1 million out of fund reserve.
So
Yeah.
we don't know if we're gonna get all those grants. We're just saving that, we're saving the match. You don't know for sure you're getting all the grants that are
No, we got 2 of the
submitted.
grants already.
Right. So what we could do, Ken, it just sounds like Hyundai is very amenable, like you're able to talk, like when we got the trees, whatever, if we can get that money, if they can release the 211,000 that can go against the pathway, that reduces the amount that we have to take from general fund, we have enough money. We have enough money. Let's vote on
They
this.
don't. They could demand it back.
Does it really, do you really?
Eh.
Well, of course they could, but
Let's maybe,
let's,
Surplus of a special.
are you asking Ken to go and do it? I think
I would like
maybe the
you-
3
I would
officials.
like believe me, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it should be the 3
Yeah.
officials.
Fine, I mean, I hope they would give it to us.
Okay, so why don't we, approve it?
But if they say no, then where's it gonna come?
We'll deal with that then, but let's say right now, they probably, you know what, based on how you're able to talk to them in the past, I would be so surprised they're not gonna approve this for the Gettys Road pathway, okay? It's a Gettys Road fund.
I would entice them any way I could to.
Well, I would rather,
I'd
just rather reasonable, but
I think that they're
yeah.
gonna say, we put that money in and we might want it for that intersection improvement.
Okay, well, let's,
So we're
we just
ready.
vote on this,
Yeah.
please?
we-
And just say that the general fund will pay for the,
Thank
okay.
you.
What are we voting on?
To approve the bid for $529,000. We're gonna leave open the question of how we're gonna finance the amount above 320. I guess to a later date till we see what Hyundai says.
as long as the 3 officials are in on it, yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, all right. So essentially, if we can approve it, but we're not saying what fund will be paying for the overage at this point. We'll have to address that.
Yes,
Is
yes, and that's okay because that
I'm okay
equipment's
with that.
coming.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, it's getting late. Who made the motion?
I think I did.
I thought you did too. And who seconded? Thank you. My deputy is questioning it.
The motion has split. So y'all want to first draft the motion with the split? Otherwise, it's one of the split.
When you say the split of what Bernice is suggesting, and that's what yes.
I think we've.
So are we going back to your original motion is what Landis is saying? Yes. And I don't think we changed it. I just thought we were saying we'll try our best to figure out other sources of
Bernice,
funds.
would you be satisfied with a friendly motion that would say, we'll go ahead and accept the bid, but the amount over what we pledged in ARPA will be determined at a later date once we get a response from Hyundai?
And
I
ARPA,
think that would be good, yeah. You said this motion has a split? That we're
no,
looking
what
at?
he's saying is that we're
Split.
getting ready to go toward in another direction when we're not looking at the motion that's in the book. You got to go on the motion in the book.
Right,
Well, you can do a friendly amendment.
What he was bringing to our attention, I'm aware of that, Ken.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, because this resolution doesn't even talk about the funding. part,
So-
it just talks about the expenditure.
Okay,
Can the motion be restated, please, or what motion are we voting on?
Resolution to accept the bid from KAB Enterprises for the improvements to Fireman's Park for a total, estimated total of $529,864.78.
support. Again,
All right, so we're only voting on acceptance without saying where we're gonna pay the excess at this time?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to address this at some future time.
right.
Yes.
For the excess,
Yep.
okay.
What are you shaking your head for? You want a roll call?
Good. Yeah, what's the roll call? We need a roll call on this.
Finley, yes. Lewis, Caviston,
Yes.
Linky,
Yes,
McGill. Absent, Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. Ooh, that takes us down to new business, which is resolution 65, and that's adopting the general appropriations millage rates. We had our truth and taxation hearing.
Support.
Any discussion at all?
only one question. How does this relate to last year? Like, how much of a increase over last year?
Well, there's an increase in fire and it's a decrease in general. You're talking about the millage rate
Yes.
or the SCP?
The millage rate,
So general went down slightly, maybe like 1/10 of a mil because the Hadley got rolled back.
right?
But the fire and the law, their new millage is being collected for the first time. So this is new millage 3.5 and 2.75. Last year, the fire was, I believe, 3.4. And it's about the same. It was like 2.65
Okay.
for.
They're minuscule.
Okay.
They're not-
We can get you that information.
Oh, that's all right. I just wondered.
So is there a motion on the floor? So we did accept, right? Okay, ready to vote?
Yeah, we're all set. Call the roll.
Aviston,
Yes.
Finley, yes. Lewis, Linky,
Yes,
Seacrest,
Yes.
McGill, absent, Schwartz.
Yes.
Yes.
Now this takes us down to the resolution adopting the General Appropriations Act for 2024 budgets of funds. And so if I can get a motion
So moved.
and support. Or, okay. So all the information is available there. How much is coming out of general fire, law, building, park, street, light, side street, American Rescue Plan, utilities, and legal. Keith has prepared the budget. I don't know if anybody has any questions on the budget, but we have the controller on the line if you want to talk.
okay. So at the working session, we talked about removing the part-time clerk for 20,000 in the supervisor's budget. We talked about adding a special project for trees around the Clay Hill Farms for 100,000. And adding a special project for sidewalks for 35,000 and increase repairs and maintenance in the general fund for the Old Town repair of 40,000. So has that been done?
I don't know, but the 100,000 was for trees in general, not for Clay Hill.
Oh, I
I
thought,
mean,
I thought
How
we were
could they
talking
use
about,
$100,000 worth of trees?
well, I know
They
that,
might
well, I
have
don't,
some money.
okay, well, I know that they wanted trees, like fruit trees and whatnot.
Yeah, but you know, that's not 100,000. So, but we're gonna put
So
100,000
100,000,
all,
all trees, okay,
all over
that's fine,
county.
that's fine.
our township.
Yep.
Okay.
But we need, but when we do provide trees all over our township, we need to have a plan for that with
Yeah.
the board, okay?
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so, so the budget has to be adjusted for this? Do you guys
Well, it
agree
has
on
to
that?
be-
Remember? Keith? Well, what
Yes.
did,
We made some
but the
adjustments.
board, does the board agree with it?
This was discussed, but I think he sent an email out
Today saying that when all of those discussions were had, I don't think anybody weighed in on anything.
No, because we didn't make
And,
decisions,
Cause you can't make, and I told him that,
right?
Lisa, you're right.
So do we want to make the decision to adjust the budget based on what we talked about?
Give him permission to adjust the budget based on what we discussed, yes.
Yeah, we want to do that.
Okay. So do I need to repeat that, what we're gonna do, or is everybody?
No, he has it all. He's
I have, may I say something? Ken did
Yes.
request that the Old Town Hall go from 40 to 50 after looking at the building.
Right.
So I'd like to make that adjustment to 50, and then also a question was asked of me today about Ricky Harding and Mary Burton about their increases.
Right.
So since you passed that today, and of course, I didn't know when that would be passed when I did the budget, I believe I should put those in the budget also.
Right.
Right.
And Bernie, can you give me Mary's new salary?
Let me go back to that.
I have Ricky's.
It's an unfinished,
You have it?
unfinished business.
Okay, I got it right here. It is 90,514,000.
Okay, thank you. So I've got 6 items. Remove the clerk, the tree project, sidewalks, the Old Town Hall, Ricky Harding and Mary Burton.
Right.
Think you got it, Keith.
Thank you. I will make the adjustments and submit to the board the new budgets tomorrow.
Right. So we have the budget before us, along with some modifications that we made tonight. Is there any other questions on the budget at this point? Seeing none, we'll call the vote.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Seacrest,
Yes.
Caviston,
yes.
Finley, yes, Lewis, McGill absent, Linky,
Yes.
it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. then.
Thank you.
So we got our taxes and we have a budget for next year. And so this takes us, resolution 2367, approve the agreement between Superior Charter Township and the Recreation Commission and Willow Run Acres regarding Clay Hill Community Farms and Garden. Anybody want to get it on the?
Support.
Okay, I just got this on Friday and I don't know.
Everybody got their board books on Friday, Ken, because, okay.
Yeah, so I got this on Friday and I don't, really didn't have a chance to look at it thoroughly. And, there's what I had looked at, I have some questions and maybe we have to make some corrections on this. I don't see anything in there regarding insurance or workers' comp. So,
Should there have been, and shouldn't they have been notified of that?
they were notified as far as I know from Juan.
So
I
is there a motion on the table?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's the one concern is that there's no insurance to protect us as additional insureds and an amount determined, usually 1 million, 5 million, which is what every contractor puts up as far as insurance goes. So that's one thing I think that needs to be revisited. And then there's nothing in there about what chemicals might be used or fertilizers, herbicides. I don't know if it's organic or not. TC, can you tell us?
And Ken, before TC comes up, you know, this was a project that sort of like what's going on with utilities that's been at this table. And for you to make the comment you're making now, I feel like it's a stall, you're stalling.
We didn't get this released until.
And
till Friday.
yeah, for you as a supervisor to come to this table to say that you did not take as a priority to read your board book.
Lynette, I didn't get this until Friday. Now,
We all didn't get it until
Yeah, so
Friday.
I'm saying.
And you had
enough
an obligation to review it. So to use that as an excuse to me is unacceptable.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you can think that. But can you tell us about organic or inorganic, how you're gonna approach that?
Well, the best way we're gonna try to do it is organic, but we're not certified organic, so we cannot use the word organic for organic farming. We will be using natural products itself. There will be some products that we have to use that are chemical made or by chemicals because of fruit trees. We have to make sure that we spray the trees so we don't get wormy trees, because if we're going to invest in fruit trees, we want to make sure that we have a good product. We're going to try our best to try and use the term organic once we get certified down the road, but we're going to try and stay natural as possible because that's most important. Because in the Black community, the biggest fear is having chemicals on the food. So we want to try and teach by example and also learn by example.
Well, that leads me to the second point, is that we're going to have up for approval tonight is the phase 2 on that site. We did a phase 1 and it came back that we need a phase 2 on that site. So there's some indication of some chemicals or environmental contamination on the site. And we have that up tonight. And I think that really we should determine whether or not that's the case.
We discussed this at the working session, Ken. We
Mhm.
talked about the 1 acre at Harris Road and the other side of to the east of MacArthur.
Right.
That is where we are starting. So what we're doing is we are starting to plant where we know it's okay, and we will wait till we find out what problems we are facing, and we will deal with them as we face them.
So you're agreeing to phase it with the Harris Road first?
Harris Road and the eastern part of MacArthur where the land was cleared. Mhm.
It's probably fine over there.
That's right. So that is where cash crops are going to grow up in the Harris Road, and then the one with the MacArthur originally thought with you pick, but then we will adjust it according to what we can or cannot do.
So were you ever told about the insurance requirements by anybody?
No, we were not, but we would normally, that would be accepted because we would have to do that for the county when we are using the county property in between the north property and the south property.
So we could amend the contract to put that in the contract. I would put whatever we use for other contracts.
1.5.
Normally that when I do contracts, it's 1.3.
Yeah.
Whatever's necessary.
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about the
100.
total occurrence, the one is the important.
So if we could just get it in and we can say that it's amended so we can get this going.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Can we talk about the 10 years?
Well, after hearing everything tonight, I would be fine with maybe, how about if we say 7.5 years? No, I'm just kidding. But I understand with the 10 years. I get what you're saying, and I get what the other people say. I like the relocation. If they have to if they have to be relocated to relocate to a close area to the people, to our residents. And I thought that was reasonable, what was said about the water.
No problem with that.
Anybody else? We're all okay?
We talk about extension from 5 years to 10.
Yeah,
Right, we just did.
We're good on that.
Yeah.
So 10 years.
No, we haven't said that yet. I'm okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, we haven't said that,
Right.
but so I'm okay with that. as long as we have an escape clause in the event, like I told you before, we are to get a whole bunch of money for a fire department down there.
And that escape clause includes that we be relocated
Right.
to the place where we are serving the community.
Mhm.
And that we have either a well or metered water until we're able to raise money to put in a well because we need
That's fine. I don't
inexpensive
have a
water.
problem with that.
Right, and that is in the early termination part. That's the language in the early termination part. And I had already provided that to Fred in an email.
So this early termination of the lease, is that what the actual language we're gonna use, or was there a modification?
That was the language that I suggested. I never heard from. Okay. Correct. And then I had emailed you, replied, and I said, we accept the contract with these 3 discrepancies. Correct. Correct. So I mean, that was my language. You can have Fred put that in a language. That would be fine with us
I'm
as
fine
long.
with the language that's in
Oh,
here, but I'm not sure if that was our language or your language
That was a combined language.
combined.
It was a
Okay.
combined, so
Can we
we worked really hard on it. We worked with a person from MIFS.
Can we call the question?
Thank you.
Well, I think we just have to, we're investing $190,000. But I just want to make sure that if something miracle happens and we can get a fire department, that we can reasonably then terminate the lease, move you to another place that's acceptable. And without there being,
I think, Ken, all that's covered.
Yeah.
It's covered.
it's covered. I just want to make sure.
Right. And that is also whether or not the board would approve the fire department being the new fire station to be there to begin with.
Well,
That's true.
it has
That's right.
been-
So that has
been
been
our
your
policy
desire,
for
but
like
I have
3
not
years.
heard that. And I've heard a lot of other public people speaking out about that, but that is something for a later date. So at least we have, and that is why I insisted on changing the language of the early termination, because I knew that you want to get rid of us. I know that.
I'm the one who brought DC.
No, you are not. Do
Call the
not lie.
question. Call the question. Call the question.
Okay, call it.
Call the question.
Motion is on the table,
What's the motion?
supported.
The motion is to approve the
Yes.
lease agreement.
Yeah. And I support.
And I supported that,
Oh.
yes. So, we're gonna take this vote now.
With the changes, with the 3 changes.
That's a great clarification. Yes,
I accept that amendment.
yes.
Okay, right.
Yes,
And in the water.
Wait a minute.
all the conditions that were read earlier.
So the early termination.
Jen, please.
So the
Thank you.
early termination is that in the event that the township wishes us to relocate, they will relocate us to an area close to the community that we are serving.
And that most likely would be community park.
Something like that, but that is close to the community that we are serving. Okay. And I did put that in parentheses, Sycamore Meadows and Danbury Green.
It would probably be community park
Mhm.
or across the street at. Apartments.
Not fireworks. Not fireworks, don't worry.
Right, so the water would be that we would be provided with a well. Or the township would pay for metered water until we are able to secure funds to put in a well. Because we need low cost water.
So we're ready to vote now. Did you get them all in, Jan? No?
Do you have the 10 years in the lease?
Yeah,
As long as we got an escape.
I think we all,
Okay, thank you.
Seacrest, we're ready to vote. You're the first one.
Oh, good. Yay.
Schwartz,
No.
McGill absent, Linky,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Finley, yes. Caviston,
Yes.
Okay,
Motion passes.
guys got it. Okay, that
Thank you.
takes us to resolution 68, resolution to authorize me to submit to SimCog, I believe this would be for the ADI sidewalk ramp improvements. We've done this, I think, every year.
Support.
Which one are we on, please?
Item D.
Okay, but resolution, is it a resolution?
Yeah.
23, what is it?
Okay.
Mhm.
Do we have a motion on the table yet? Okay, motion and support. Okay. Are there any questions? This is just for us to send this resolution to SimCog, so SimCog knows that we will make the match.
I have one question. I was, of the amount that you're asking, how much is for engineering?
Didn't hear you. What?
Hasn't been
Can you speak?
determined yet.
Didn't hear the question. What did you say?
Just wondering how much is for engineering of this amount? So it's not
Grants all construction costs.
all construction?
There's no professional services in the grant.
Thank you.
We good? Okay. Need to read the vote.
Caviston,
Yes.
Finley, yes. Linky,
Yes,
Lewis,
Yeah.
McGill absent, Schwartz,
Yes.
Seacrest.
Yes.
Motion.
Okay, this next one is. Yeah. Yeah. I thought we already agreed to that, we already agreed to pay that. The fencing,
Ricky had given an explanation for that. The fencing was not in at the time. I have no idea why. Because George, he communicated with you in the beginnings. And then the last email that I read after, I think he sent that 4:30-ish or something. George, he was forwarding George's email, which basically turned it over to us, but you had the first contact with Ricky. So Ricky was a little bit confused as to why it wasn't basically shared. From what I have in an email from when Ron first asked about it, is that the fencing was not in yet. So with that not being there at that time, the check will be made available. There shouldn't be any issue. Yeah, we're on it.
so we're good on this.
I mean, is it understood what? It's for material only. The fence material that was part of the original contract, we want that fence delivered to the township, so they're gonna deliver it to Ricky starting tomorrow.
They need a check.
To take possession of it, and LaSalle wants to be paid for the material.
That's what Ricky put in his first email, that, yeah, but if he wasn't aware of that, that the fencing was in, because you were part of the email stream too.
Yeah.
You were part of it and you were CC.
Well, I've been communicating with Ricky on it
That's
last
my
week.
point
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I got you. So George, to make sure that we're all on the same page here, you're saying that they need a check because everything's in now? Because Ricky's not
No,
aware of it.
nothing's installed. This payment of 38, whatever it is, thousand is strictly for the fence material. To be delivered to the township, take possession, Ricky will store it. Then the new contractor, Stante, who's finishing the project,
Mhm.
they're gonna get the fence and they're gonna install it as part of their contract. But we need the check likely early next week. We
Right.
need to have it, yeah.
That's understood. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do we have something on the table now? Did Fred interject?
Right.
Okay, so this would be resolution 69, approval of the animal control invoice from the county.
so moved.
Support.
Yeah,
All those in favor?
I'm ready.
All those
Alright.
in favor?
We actually, this is a contract, so we should have a
Yeah, there's a contract.
contract, roll call.
Linky,
Yep.
Lewis, Caviston,
Yes.
Finley, yes. McGill absent, Schwartz,
Yes.
Seacrest.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We'll go to resolution 70, which is a resolution to recognize Terry Lee Lansing's service to Superior Township Parks and Recreation.
Support.
I don't think so.
Thank you, Lisa.
You support.
I support it. Thank you.
Does anybody want to make any comments before we address it?
I think we should read it.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just think, you know,
Yeah, that's fine.
these are really, all right. So this is a resolution recognizing the service of Terry Lee Lansing. Whereas Terry Lee Lansing was elected member of the Superior Township Parks and Recreation Commission on November 20th, 2008. And whereas Terry Lee Lansing proudly served as a Parks and Recreation Commissioner for 14 years. And whereas Terry Lee Lansing regularly volunteered at parks and recreation special events, interacting with families to ensure that they have a positive experience. And whereas Terry Lee Lansing has contributed her time, talent, and leadership to the mission of the Parks and Recreation Commission and was a particular advocate for preservation of open natural spaces and brought her expertise in beekeeping to commission work. And whereas Terry Lee Lansing has chosen to resign from the Parks and Recreation Commission on July 23rd, 2023. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Charter Township of Superior Board of Trustees thanks and honors the contributions of Parks and Recreation Commissioner Terry Lee Lansing and wishes her well in her future endeavors.
Okay, good. So all in favor of that resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. That takes us to resolution 71, which is a resolution to recognize Marion Morris for her work.
Support.
You want to read it again?
You could read it. I think this is an very important one. Mary,
Read it.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
yeah,
Good friend of
good.
mine. There is
Yeah.
one change. She says she was a leading member of the Superior Land Conservancy. That's the Southeast Michigan.
Why don't you read it and then we'll make it, as you read it.
Whereas Marion Morris was first elected to the Parks and Recreation.
You got
Commission-
talking to that mic though.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Whereas Marion Morris was first elected to the Parks and Recreation Commission in 1992 and has completed 31 years of service as a Superior Charter Township Parks and Recreation Commissioner. And whereas she capably served with distinction and dedication on the Parks and Recreation Commission. And whereas Marion Morris often led the commission as chair or vice chair, and she worked tirelessly and effectively to create parks and recreational facilities for township families while working to safeguard the open natural areas for current and future generations. And Marion Morris continuously supported installations and upgrades to many of the township parks while advocating for more playground equipment, family-friendly environments, and fun-filled activities for township families. And Marion Morris has been a champion of land conservation in Superior Charter Township, leading both the Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy and Superior Land Preservation Society in establishing a number of public nature preserves. And Marion Morris was instrumental in working to procure and protect Spring Hill Nature Preserve, the Lafarge Woods Nature Preserve, Cherry Hill Nature Preserve, Weatherby Woods Preserve, and Highland Preserve. And Marion Morris's outstanding accomplishments and major contributions to the township for over 31 years have brought pride and honor to the residents of and visitors to Superior Charter Township. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Superior Charter Township congratulates and provides best wishes to Marion Morris upon her retirement from the Superior Charter Township Parks and Recreation Commission.
So you said there's a correction, right?
Yeah, there was.
Because you didn't read it.
What?
You read this. You didn't, what's the correction?
Superior Land Conservancy is actually the Superior Township chapter of the Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy.
I get it from you. I'll get it from you. And there's another correction. There's a E in there now, therefore be it resolved. The E is missing. So
I just.
thank you. You're gonna make some comments about it?
Yeah, Marion, I've known her since like 1991, and she really always threw her heart into the Parks and Rec Commission and land preservation. She's an animal lover, and she's done her service here, and I appreciate it, and I thank her.
Me too.
Okay, so all in favor of the resolution honoring, recognizing Marion Morris for her work, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So we move on. So resolution to accept 3 quotes from Taz to update the firewalls and switches at the Township Hall, Fire Department, and Utility Park Maintenance Buildings. So this would be, when I talked to them, they said that we don't really have that much protection right now because our firewalls are not up to grade. And so to make these improvements would be for the Township Hall, about $5,900 for the fire, 4,800, and for utilities, about 4,800. So this is something that we need.
What's the total, Ken?
I didn't, 15,548, $15,548. And 72 cents.
Oh,
Is there a motion?
support.
So for a while, we've talked about rebidding IT services. And when I first came here to help with elections, I found out that Taz keeps all of our passwords. There's no business that does that. No business, usually they'll send you a temporary password, you change it, nobody knows your password but yourself. And I know that the passwords are kept by someone here. I really think that we should, you talk about firewalls and security, that's a real violation of confidentiality right there. So I had sent an RFP to Sarah when she was your deputy, but nothing, I don't know what happened with that. All I was supposed to do was investigate, and I sent RFPs.
So as it stands now, their contract does not expire to January.
So it would be a good, if
you want to do it now would be the time to get an RFP out for bids on IT services.
so who would do that?
It's the supervisor's responsibility.
Okay, so I can send you, yeah, okay.
We'll post it.
And there's some more. When I went to the MAMC, the clerks conference, they had a lot of vendors and they had some very
I'm
good
sure
ones.
there's
So I'll give you the other ones.
Okay, so it's a contract.
Yes, it is. Halveston,
Yes.
Lewis, Linky,
Yes.
Finley, yes. Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
McGill, absent. It's unanimous.
Okay, that takes us to resolution 2360. And this is to enter to an amended agreement with Washtenaw County Election Services. And Lynette, you can tell us what this is. for.
You said 60. Did you say 60?
Yes. this is 60.
Okay, yes, it is amended. What it is it's the same resolution. It's amended because the cost went down. The cost was based on the number of people in townships and municipalities that entered the initial agreement. That changes when someone drops out, and one township dropped out, so that lowers our cost. And that's what this represents.
You know, Lynette, it says per election. Does that mean like there's a charge for the primary and a charge for the general, or for the
The
election?
major, just the major elections,
The
yes.
election year.
Yes.
Okay.
Each election.
Okay, so we're actually reducing the amount for
Yes.
next year.
Yes.
Okay. We got a motion on support?
So moved.
Support. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. And there's a copy of the agreement in there. Anyone, let's take a look at it. The next one is motion.
Jack Smiley.
Yeah, motion to appoint Jack Smiley as a park commissioner to fill the vacancy.
Jack is come. Support.
Okay, any discussion? It's a good choice. That's great. Yeah, all in favor of approving Jack Smiley to serve on the park commission to fill a vacancy, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. We got a motion to appoint Nathalia, Erica, and Rachel Smith to the zoning board of appeals to fill vacancies. And this one's really important because we're kind of short right now.
And we do have
I was gonna say so moved.
support.
Any
Yeah.
questions on it?
I think we have one of the individuals here. that stayed the entire meeting so she could be introduced.
Why don't you come on up and introduce yourself to the board?
Good evening, I'm Rachel Smith and yeah, very excited to very excited to join in this position. Have the opportunity to join in this position. I do live in the township, have so for about a year, new to Michigan, and I'm a professional planner, have been so for about 5 years.
Okay, so if you need to get any information about Michigan law, there are seminars.
Yes, and I also serve as a committee member of the Michigan Association of Planners, so.
Okay, we'll save the dollars there. Bucks. We don't need that. Thank you. All right, all in favor of those appointments, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That's motion to reappoint members of all boards and commissions whose terms have expired but have
That was
interest.
okay. That was all of them.
Yeah, that's all of them. So
Yeah.
if I can get a motion,
So moved.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion to proceed with phase 2 environmental study for Clay Hills Community Farm and Garden. We need to do a phase 2 down there before we can actually start growing anything. Make sure that it's clean. If it's not clean, we may have to remediate it, so.
So moved.
Support? Okay. Lynette, you wanna call the contracts?
Schwartz,
Yes.
Finley, yes. Caviston,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Linky,
Yes.
Okay, then.
Seacrest,
Yep.
McGill, absent. It's unanimous.
Good.
Yes.
The next one is motion to hire Lead for America candidate John Park. John, why don't you stand up over there? You've got 1 minute to convince the board.
Okay, thank you again for having me here. Thanks to last week's work session, I was able to witness all of your thoughts and concerns about, how I may serve the board. And first, I want to announce that after speaking with our AmeriCorps regional director, I can actually work for 1,200 hours instead of 1,800. So that'll actually bring down the cows to 27K instead of 35. And so also, in addition to being the dedicated scanner, I aim to report to each member of the board to work on like any projects, any research assigned, investigations or white papers, whatever you guys want. For me, it's a learning opportunity, it's a fellowship, and I want to learn from the backgrounds and expertise of every one of you. And additionally, Ms. Brenda Baker suggested that I could join and contribute to coordinating our Superior Township Neighborhood Watch. And I would love to do this. Obviously, my mom lives here. I've lived here for 12 years. I'm very invested in the safety of our community. So yeah, I would love to do that and set up like a website, neighborhood watch website. I can do all that. I have the technical expertise. Speaking of websites, I would love to do like a website building and social media stuff for our township for like our marketing, our events. Like I'd be a really good promoter for all of that. And yeah, so I know I will provide more value than I will cost, just 27K. And thank you for your consideration, not just as, as a job candidate, but someone that really wants to live here and stay here, go to law school in U of M Law School. Hopefully I'm applying. And afterwards, I want to use my law degree for this community. And this is the stepping stone for me because this fellowship will obviously help me a lot for that. But thank you so much for listening, and thank you.
John, any questions of John? We have a motion.
So I can say this.
Huh? I can do that because you guys mentioned that. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
That would give you professional stuff. I really do. I think that we could use you.
Can we get the motion on the table first?
think we can
Can we get the motion?
We hire.
Support.
It was support. Support.
I think I
agree.
did.
Uh,
You got my
Bernie,
support.
that we should need to elevate him on some things, and I have a lot of things in mind for John. If we hire him now,
So who is he gonna directly report to?
well, he kind of reports, my understanding, he kind of reports to the board. Maybe the assignments can come from the board, just go through me, so he has one contact person.
Let him go through me if that's okay.
Pardon me?
I'd prefer him to go through me if that's
Yeah,
okay.
for stuff for you,
Thank-
but for
no.
the trustees.
For the township.
I'm hoping I can get the
you.
mentorship and advising of everyone. I mean, I'm just not
Well,
trying to, I
we'll
want to
talk
learn from
about
all
the-
of you. Yeah.
The
That's
board.
fine, Lynette. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with that.
Yeah.
Lynette, that's good. Okay. All right, so we got a motion support on the table. All in favor of hiring John Park for Lead for America, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None, and we'll have to tell Keith to make an adjustment in the budget on this. too.
He can hear you.
Keith, can you make?
He's gone.
Yeah. He bailed.
It's 10 o'clock, guys.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, John.
Smart.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
Thank you.
motion.
See me a lot.
I thank you, John. We'll talk maybe Wednesday, okay? And then we'll get together with Eric and then you can work on that from there. This is a motion to pay GFL invoice. GFL, last year, I really fought with GFL on this. They billed us $12,500 for providing recycling services over and above what was called for in the contract for the first week of service. And then I found out, it's like, you don't need to do this. We didn't ask for it. And so they stopped that immediately, but they still billed us. And then I sent it to Fred for Fred to talk to their lawyer or whatever Fred did. And Fred said that he thought this was a good compromise at this point for $4,500.
So So is there a motion on the table before we?
No, I guess, can we get a motion on the table?
So moved.
Is there support? All right. Are you
There
guys
is
question?
support?
No, there's support, Bill.
Who'll support?
Bill. You support.
Bill didn't support it, but if you're asking Bill to support it, did you support it? Because I didn't hear you. Okay. So I have a question. This is an example, not an issue, but it'd be great to know how about this, because this bill has been every month the same amount, and they've been bringing it to the township for close to a year. And the board did not know Fred was working on it until you came to a resolution of 45 or whatever the amount. Just so in the can negotiate it. Okay, so my only concern, it's not on you. What I'm saying is, my concern is that I knew about this bill for a year, and it would be great for the township to know that you were trying to get the bill cut down before you got it cut down. Great, you did it.
Well, I told a paymaster or payable clerk that I was trying to do that, but you're right, I should have come and told you.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I just made a comment before we approve it, or before we vote on it. We got that. That's why I made my comment after we put the motion on the table, so that can happen.
I appreciate that comment, but I'm not gonna dispute that.
Ready to vote?
Yeah. Okay, so all in favor of paying the bill at 4,500, say aye.
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 That's right. You're right.
Roll call?
Yeah,
It's not a contract.
it's,
Okay, all right. Lynette?
McGill, absent, Seacrest,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Caviston,
Yes.
Lewis. Finley, no. Linky? Linky,
I'm thinking. Yes.
We'll take care. of it.
Support.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That takes us down to motion to award the bid for furnace to Robertson Morrison for fire station number 2, the furnace for fire station number 2. Any of you guys want to talk about that for 1 minute?
No.
Yeah, it's
Support.
okay. So why don't we just call the question? You read the,
Finley, yes. Caviston,
How much?
I think it was 5,000.
Got it. Yes.
Lewis.
Yeah.
Linky,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
McGill, absent, Seacrest.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, then that takes us to the motion to approve a consent agenda. And I take it this is the form of the new agenda if we approve this, Lynette? Is that what this is? Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Hold on. ABC, no, this should have been revised. Oh, items removed from the consent. Okay, yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so this hopefully will allow us those things that we all agree on just to
Flow.
be moved on one motion and we can maybe save some time. And then if anybody has a particular issue or wants more information about anything on new business or unfinished business, we can pull that out and discuss that separately. So can I get a motion to approve utilizing a consent agenda format?
Move.
Yeah.
We approve.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
We got
Figure it out.
support.
Yes.
Okay.
I support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that takes us down to Treasurer's Report, the 2023 special assessments.
Put a new one on the table. Right.
Right. Oh, I see. So this.
I move the treasurer's report. Is there a second?
Second.
I'd just like to say there is gonna be an addition to that because I still need to get the water bill. And it looks as though, false alarms, keep coming in, so that's what changed it from the last time that we had a large one, $420 paid. Created to today. And as you can see, Sycamore had asked to be put. So that's, Fred, after they be added.
Want to be added to the tax roll, and that's fine to us. They go out in the December billing. And then they have to pay it.
Why did they ask?
You know, I don't
I
know.
can suspect, but, I don't.
I think they probably just want to write it off, or this is just simpler for them. I don't.
I like the treasurer's viewpoint. Do you mind sharing it?
I just know that they're months behind. I just know that they.
That's right.
Behind, and this is not the first time that Fred has had to speak to them. Interestingly enough, earlier this year, I sent information to Fred. Fred contacted them. They sent us a large check. Since then, I don't believe that we have received a check. And that was 4 to 5 months ago. Am I correct, Fred? Yeah, and so I'm not quite sure. They don't necessarily respond to my communication, even when I say second notice, third notice. But when this communication was sent to Fred, they immediately responded, and the response was that they'd like to be added to the tax roll.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask just a question for me. When you do a special assessment, it's because someone hasn't paid up, or paid something that is due the township. So you will do a special assessment and add it to their tax bill? Is that how does that work?
I'm gonna defer that to the clerk.
You're gonna defer that to me?
I am gonna defer that to you.
The supervisor.
I'll answer that question.
Yeah. that's
So
really not-
it can be
Yeah.
either a delinquent
Supervisor.
that is not been collected on, you can add that. Special assessments also at this time can be the side street maintenance, which we can collect then for Robert in the spring. Ordinance violations, people who have not paid ordinance violations, street lights, so we can pay the street light bills at them when they come in, and drains, that's the amount that we get as our portion for the drains at large income.
So this would include anybody who's who either it's just difficult to receive their payment, or they've been very delinquent.
Yeah, and we usually do one later for delinquencies on the water and sewer bills, and we get quite a few of those where people just don't pay.
Okay.
Then it goes to the county, they don't pay their taxes, and we get it back on the delinquent tax roll.
Okay. The county doesn't cover them though. The county does. Once.
So this, correct. Now, the county will pay, we have to reimburse the county, then the county chart has a lot higher interest rate than one would expect if the bill had been paid initially.
Oh, we don't reimburse the county. It's the delinquent taxpayer that reimburses the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then right.
But it does, it's not a chargeback to the township.
Right.
I've never seen that, Fred, but it's possible, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Right.
All right, so if we can get a motion and support on the table, so all in favor of assessing these special assessments on the some on the winter roll, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're done for the night.
No,
we're
actually,
not.
there's one more. I
Oh,
didn't
we got
see it
Bill.
on here.
Record.
Oh, okay. That's in the.
Yeah, so we got bills for payments, so we can get a motion on the bills,
So moved.
or the record of.
So moved.
First. Yeah, bills and record.
So move.
Oh.
Or any questions?
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Bernice.
So the Harris Road widening, I think I asked the question about,
You gotta talk into your mic.
Harris, can you hear me? Harris Road widening. It's on the first page, top, maybe 4 down. We paid 66,000. That's, the ASI, that's the amount that we have in accounts receivable that we're trying to receive from.
We paid them that amount.
I know, and then do we get it back from IPSI?
Yes, that'll come back as part of the total amount that they owe us, the library owes.
Okay, so is that part of that, what we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Okay. Then we paid almost $900 for this tree that fell down on the Village Green,
Mhm.
Dixboro. Why did we pay that?
Well, we have a use agreement with them that indicates that we,
So,
yeah, it was a public danger at that point, so we
Right.
had somebody go up.
okay, but that's above and beyond what we pay in the use agreement?
We don't pay anything in the use agreement, but we do maintenance on the
Okay.
property.
The FOIA request to Taz, it says FOIA request research. Did they do a investigative type thing? Lynette?
Yeah. What's that? What's the cost?
$302.
That was reimbursed. That's not on us. They paid for that. Conlin.
Oh, okay. IPSI Meals on Wheels, we donated 2150, but I don't think that was ever brought before us. Shouldn't that have been?
We used to always do it. Are you sure?
Wasn't it at the beginning of
Wasn't
the
it in
year?
budget? I think it was in the budget.
It doesn't matter. We still
We
bring it to
usually
the table
we-
because that last year, that's when she upped it.
We get a bill.
That's why we haven't. I haven't gotten a
Well,
bill. It's
we
up to
paid
them.
2150.
I don't know how. I didn't.
We paid it because if you look on it's the top line on the second page, 2150 to IPSI Meals on Wheels. It says 2023 annual donation.
We gotta check on that.
It's on page
2 of
4. It says first item.
Right. And then,
Well, I'm saying I don't recall signing a check for them. Annual donation for senior home.
well, it's probably, you can.
For senior home deliveries. I think that's what the
Deliveries,
DEL
right.
is.
So I don't recall signing
Delivery.
them.
So you might want to look at.
I
Someone could-
I didn't see it.
Well,
That's what
someone,
I'm saying.
Unless it was the one from the beginning of the year and then it just got mailed out. I don't know.
can someone look at it?
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah.
just put the check. So.
Because that amount isn't correct, is what you're basically saying too, if it's an annual
Basically,
donation.
we should
Okay,
know that. Then it's sort of weird. I was trying to find out today, the Morris Concrete Solutions. We paid 22,500 to Morris Concrete Solutions. We voided that check. And then if you go down, we paid individual amounts to Daryl Morris that add up to 22,500. Okay, and this is still on page 2 of 4. Then if you go on to page 3 of 4, there's a bunch of voids to Darius, or to Daryl Morris. So what's going on with that?
So
I can, oh, I'm sorry.
you,
I can speak to check number 47066, I think, and 47067 and 68.
Mhm.
And I know originally the check was cut to the business and then he asked for,
For it
I
to,
don't-
the other one.
he
to-
asked that it be paid directly to him. And I don't know if that's because of his laborers and he's paying them cash. But that was via the conversation that I gathered from that. Now, with respect to the other part, I don't know. I can only speak to those three.
yeah, so we paid him the full amount, which is the sum of those three was
Right.
24,
Right.
something like that. And he came back and asked if they could break it down differently and make it payable to him personally.
Right.
And so we did.
Okay,
And we
so,
voided the other.
so then on 304, there's 3 more payments to him separately that are voided. And that's toward the bottom.
Where's that at?
The total amount, all of them
21.
should total the amount of the first one that Lisa described, Bernice.
It doesn't. So there's a void of the one that goes to the company, a reissue to him in that same amount.
There's one missing in
Then you
that.
go on the
There's
next
one missing.
page. No, Lynette, look, go on the next page.
No, I'm not referring to that. I'm saying in this amount. I
Right.
thought there were.
No, it all adds up. That adds up to the 22,500.
Right.
You go on to page 3 of 4, go down to almost the bottom, you see Daryl Morris and 3 more voided checks. These amount to 21,700.
But were these voided? It doesn't say voided.
Yes,
It
yes, it does. It
does.
has a V next to it.
So
That
you're
means-
talking about a difference of some cents. So we're
No, I think, no, I'm not. I like it. I'm not.
21,
looks like it's
22, and 21.
There's 9,700. You might say, no, there's none of these amounts are the same. On the 3rd page. So we need to find out what's going on with that.
Well, Lynette can check that out with Nancy.
But then I just realized, then if you look at 4 of 4, there's checks that are reissued to Daryl Morris. So someone might want to get with him just to explain, what.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are we doing this? So on the 4th page, you have reissues to do of the same amount to Daryl Morris. So it wasn't to a company.
Yeah, I think you and Nancy talked about this in the beginning, so you somewhat have an explanation already, but I will,
It does.
Well, we paid him in one check and then he came back and said he wanted that check to be broken out into 3 checks. And Nancy voided the first check and issued the 3. That's all I know.
Okay, so it happened on 2 different occasions where he gets paid. The next.
thought he
No.
got paid one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he did.
I'm just saying, I'm only aware of one time.
So please look at page.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying, I'm
I'll hear
only
what you're
aware of one
saying.
time.
I'll get it checked.
Happened twice, so it's like, we don't want to keep doing that with him. There's anything else? That was it.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So we got a motion and support on the table. All in favor of receiving the bills for payment and record of disbursement, say aye.
Aye.
That takes us to pleas and petitions. Is there anybody that wants to make a plea?
I agree. And you
From
know,
here on out, we definitely will.
and what I would like to add is that we should put the total amount that we're approving. That's what we do with the Parks and Recreation. That makes a lot of sense.
I don't really have anything to do with this. Talk to Lynette,
Total amount of what?
Of the checks that we're approving.
the whole column.
Yeah, that's all you do, is that we're approving disbursements in the amount of blah, blah, blah. You look at other places, they do that. all-
Haviston?
This is bills for payment.
Lewis, yes. Finley, yes. McGill absent, Seacrest. Seacrest.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Blinky,
Yes.
All
yes.
right, so this is time for pleas and
you.
petitions. Is there anybody that would like to make a plea or petition to the township board?
Yes, and then go home, right? My name is Jan Peart. I live in Superior Township and I'm petitioning the board to consider holding a working session about the conservation easement for rock property. I think this is really important and warrants a conversation and with public input. So I'd like to
That'd be
hear,
fine, but we haven't even got it yet. So when we get it, I think that'd be fair.
we got what?
The conservation. easement.
Ah, okay. All right, thank you.
You. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, we're in.
Just one thing.
Okay.
The, on the corner of Plymouth and Church, you know, they cleared all that land and they're putting that dental office. I mean, it looks great, but all of a sudden everything stopped.
Put a stop.
Do you
Why?
want to explain that to the mic?
They didn't have,
In the mic, Ken?
Oh.
Thank you.
they had not had all their engineering approved. And so, Bill put a stop work on it.
Oh.
And they have to get the engineering over to Crescent OHM, and then they can remove the stop work order. They apologized to us
Right.
for that. Did you see that one now?
It was
Yeah.
Nice watching it
Yeah.
going, and then all of a sudden nothing.
So they have to get that engineering done first.
Okay.
Okay. So all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Oh, it's a person. I lied, I guess.
I'm sorry, we want to go home. Somebody online says, Getty's Ridge sign, can we get a sign?
Oh, that is, must be Steph. I'm not sure. That's on the table.
Name is
she-
SO.
What's her name?
The name on it is SO.
Okay, SO, Steph, more than likely. You all have this in front of you and what she's basically saying. So as I shared with her, I told her I put it on the table. So thank you for sharing. Well, that, it wouldn't be that, yeah, she has another example that's in line with the signage that we have. I think the point she's trying to say is that why do we not have one in our area when all the others basically having a signage? Selena, thank you. Okay, so thank you for that clarification.
Well.
We don't have,
Some
some of them don't have.
boards already sent subdivision to go pay for that as part of the development agreement. But like, for several, like Harvest Lane.
Oak Brook.
And, Getty's Ridge.
Oak Brook.
They don't have one. We did put one up for Brookside, but that was paid for by the developer who was putting in the same
At the time.
sign for Prospect Road East. So they paid, we have people who paid for those signs, but I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
That they have
This isn't
signs.
bad.
Yeah, I think that's something we can look at.
Okay,
Okay, motion to move, to adjourn.
so move.
Okay, thank you.
Bill supported it.
Night.